Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Backyard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up?
What up, dude?
I'm feeling a little stream naked, a little rusty. I think this is the longest I've gone without streaming in a very long time, maybe besides an occasional trip or vacation.
Just like riding a bike.
Just like riding a bike. I've never been very good at it, but I get from point A to point B.
Get back on, baby.
We got some people in the chat ready for the show this morning. Joey Neer said, good morning,
I
my
missed the
little jackpots. What's up, Joey? Welcome in.
What up, Jack?
And Craig said, well, look who all shows up again on weekday morning. So,
Morning,
here we are.
Craig.
You ditch us and then come crawling back. 100%. We are crawling back, begging for forgiveness. And we got
never
Victor
going
here.
to Vegas again. Don't worry.
And Victor said, good morning, boys. Missed you guys. Happy President's Day, everyone.
Good
Welcome in,
morning, Victor.
Happy Pres Day, Victor.
Tommy in the chat said, the boys are back from the city of sin. They went out there for work and came home with a win. Now it's time for the show, and the Hogs are all here. Good morning, my friends. Let's all give a cheer.
Hey.
Let's hear your cheer, JL.
Woo!
Okay, Coop.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Coop's got a speed on the enthusiasm on a Monday morning cheer.
Dude, now that I think about it, I didn't actually gamble one time. Did you guys?
Yes, Simon did.
And I usually
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I never play the slots, but I had this feeling. I had this feeling that it was gonna be the time. Like I was like, oh man, it's gonna happen. So I threw a crisp 100 into the Wheel of Fortune slot machine. Was getting ready, was hitting that button.
You think with all your experience with fantasy fortune, it'd train.
I know, right? Like I was like, I got this game. They don't know what's coming for them. Watch that wheel spin. Nothing. And then I just got up and walked away 5 minutes later.
On a hungy?
On a hungy.
You would think that, I mean, usually you do like a 5 or something. That never hits. But you think on 100, they should give you a little something to lose back to them, you know?
Right, but it's okay. It's all good. It's part of the experience. Joey won some nice little college basketball parlays while we were out there. Some different sports.
I won this.
What is that?
Joey's microphone.
This is Joey's microphone. Yeah, he left it in our room. So I came out way on top. It's got a nice mic, dude. So thanks, Joey. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Joey. We really appreciate it. Well, guys, it is Monday morning. We missed Thursday and Friday of last week, but we are back and ready to hit the ground running. I hope you brought something to eat, a little something to munch on bright and early this morning because it's BYOB. We're bringing everything else. You just got to bring your own breakfast. John Luke, you got anything to eat this Monday morning?
Some coffee.
Oh, that's kind of like something to eat. Coop?
There you go. I had a yogurt. I had some coffee, had some milk, the classics. And I forgot to tell you guys, what do you think? So let's say you get off like a red eye where you're doing 8 hours overnight and you arrive back home at your house. What's one of the worst things that you could imagine happening right when you get home?
The floor's been replaced with nails.
The door's been locked by nails.
So was it you guys who nailed my old house shut?
Yes, that was us.
God damn it. You got me. What classic prank. You guys must have been on a much earlier flight than me with a stop in Boston. Now, so it was kind of like that, except I didn't have any hot water. So getting off that length of flight, and then I'm here, and all I wanted to do was take a shower. Dude. That's all I wanted to do.
I don't blame you.
Instead, I had to draw a bath like I'm on the damn Oregon Trail. I was like heating up water on the stove so I could take a bath. That's yeah, like it was. This bath was made of hot stove water and salty tears.
Hot.
We got it done. We got it done though.
Yeah, I get in the car and my getting picked up from the airport. My girlfriend goes, "You smell like cigarettes," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. That whole city smells like cigarettes. Like there's nothing I can do about it. Like I was just there for 2 days. Of course, I smell like cigarettes." Craig in the chat said, "Do you all get to meet Keith in person?" No. He stayed in his room the entire time. He was definitely there.
Never came out.
Didn't leave once.
Too scared.
Yeah, he said his pants were too tight, and so he didn't want anyone to see him.
But
Tommy in the chat saying, "Oi, hey, oi," and then we got Matt down here, better boss, saying, "Welcome back, boys."
What's back to you, Matt?
Good seeing you out in Vegas.
Matt was the star this weekend. Really, I mean, two awards for the Better Sports Network at the FSG.
Pretty nice.
I mean, I'm not saying that the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show had anything to do with those awards, but I'm just saying. I mean, it kind of had something to do with it, right?
Are there some new Mr. Cool shades?
Yeah, I bought them yesterday in Vegas when I was or bought them Saturday in Vegas when I was walking around, and my eyeballs are being fried out by the desert sun. So
nice.
They are.
Are those lopsided?
CVS,
a bit lopsided.
I think they are. They're from a CVS in Las Vegas, so they can't possibly be good. But yeah, new part of the show. Thanks for noticing. Of the 7 pairs of shades I have on my desk, you noticed the new ones. I went right for them.
Always do.
I always will, Coop. Well, guys, we missed some news while we were gone. Haven't talked about it yet. We talked about the possibility of it happening on the show, but it's official. Former Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy is going to the Washington Commanders for the same position. Going to be the new OC there in Washington. And as first act as a new OC, we're seeing that he's leaving Sam Howell as a starting quarterback going into the offseason.
Risky move.
I'm not surprised though, because they seemed like that's what they wanted, right? Like they had said that when they were in their search for the OC. That was kind of an upfront part of it, was that like, hey, we like this guy, we want to roll with him. So I don't know. I don't think he really had too much say in that.
But I am surprised. We talked about it a little bit. I'm surprised that he's taking this job. The only explanation, Jail, I think you brought it up last week, is an opportunity to prove himself outside of Andy Reid in this Chiefs system. Like get him away from Patrick Mahomes, get him away from Andy Reid, and see if Eric Bieniemy is still the man. Because otherwise, what else makes sense about going from the Chiefs to the Commanders?
I mean, it seems like the most obvious reason why he would go to the Commanders. We'll see what he does. I'll be interested to see if they stick with Sam Howell line going in, like after all of the off-season events.
After Bieniemy meets him.
After Bieniemy meets him, yeah. he might not like old Sam.
He might just quit the job though. They said he asked to use Sam as a quarterback. And he's like, I quit. I'm done.
Yeah, not this time. I'm gonna head on back to my friend Patrick and Travis and Andy.
Yeah, well, I think part of it. So with the Eric Bieniemy thing, him not getting the job, it's part of it might be due to Matt Nagy. People look at it and the opportunity he had pretty quickly after working with Andy Reid, and then it turned out that it kind of was Patrick Mahomes, and then Nagy flamed out super quickly. And if Eric Bieniemy isn't good at interviews, and they already have the precedent of this other coach coming from the system and not doing much, I don't know. Maybe that's part of it, but I'm just glad he's at least getting this opportunity, and then hopefully that leads to him getting a head coaching job next time.
Yeah. The Commanders have got to be happy that they've got Bieniemy as their OC, and they've probably also got to be thinking, if this goes well, we don't have Bieniemy as the OC for long. This is the short-term solution. Dude's been at the top of every head coaching list for the past 3 years. If he can do this successfully, he'll be gone in a year.
Yeah, easily. Next year, right away, which he deserves, I think.
Tommy in the chat saying, give this guy a head coaching job. And I remember him as a player running over players as a Chargers.
Yeah. It's time.
Were you the player, Tommy, and you remember him also as a player running over the Chargers? I think so.
Yeah. Did you guys watch any of I know we've got a lot of football stuff to talk about, but I wanted to get this out of the way because it is a big sporting event. Did you see any of the NBA All-Star stuff, the dunk contest, the game?
I saw some of the dunk contest, but that was it. I saw some highlights of Mac McClung throwing down some crazy dunks, jumping over a guy on another guy's shoulders, hitting the backboard with the ball, and then dunking backwards. That was one of the greatest dunk contest dunks I've ever seen. Not just like in that contest, it was absurd.
Yeah, he had him and the other guy, Trey Murphy, had some good ones too. But McClung, I mean, there was no touching him. He also hit all his dunks on the first try, which was a huge problem for the dunk contest in past years. Is they would give these guys the long clocks, and they would just go out there and just miss dunks, dunk after dunk, and it just got pretty boring. So, not only did they have a shorter clock, but he didn't even need it. He would say them every single time. Creative dunks without props, like jumping over somebody. I think that's cool. You know what I mean? You're not, or having somebody come out and throw you an alley-oop. That's cool too. But like, I don't want to see guys jumping over cars or jumping over. You know, it's like if you can jump over one thing, it doesn't matter how creative or weird the thing is that you bring out, right? So I don't want to see that. So I really did. I did enjoy it, and hopefully next year it encourages some other actual NBA players to come out and try and get some of that shine. You know, I want to see John Morant. I want to see, I don't know, Zion, right? Like, let's see these NBA guys come out and put on a show. Who knows?
I don't mind them jumping over objects, but the trick can't be the object they jump over. Like the size of the object is what I'm looking at. Know what I mean? Like if you jump over a car and you dunk, that's pretty impressive. I could care less that it's a car. How big is that car? Where are you jumping from? Was someone standing in there throwing the ball to you? Know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to subtract points because you used a prop, but I'm not adding anything because like the car makes it cooler. It's just going to be, how big is that car? On JL's not adding anything.
It's a little cooler.
I was like, I kind of like it when they jump over cars.
Jump over a car, you jump over a trash can. I'm giving the points to the car. Sorry.
Tommy says, "What if it was a guy juggling knives? Does that move the needle for you guys?"
That you jump over? Yeah, there's a danger element there.
I like that.
Yeah, and car ain't gonna stab you.
Just a second ago, you were so team car, and now you just quickly abandoned the car for team guy.
Well, now we're talking knives.
now the car
knives weren't in the equation. Now they are. So I'm going with the knives.
Car might as well be a trash can at that point, right, Joe?
What would your dunk move be? Let's assume you have the ability. You're capable. What would your dunk be in the NBA dunk contest?
Pregnant lady.
You're jumping over her, or you are her, or you're dunking
basketball in the shirt. I'm a pregnant lady.
Oh, that would be the move.
and then you sneak it out and give it a little rock kiss, and then boom over the shoulder.
Touchdown.
and then for some reason, after you do all that, you just look at the camera and you go, touchdown.
You know what, JL? You've won. I'm not sure I can come up with anything better than that. I'm gonna be thinking all day trying to pass that.
I'm just gonna steal that and go first. Goes alphabetical order. I'm not sure you guys are familiar with the format, but
Speaking of the NBA All-Star game, there was a little bit of NFL news that came out of that as well. DK Metcalf, after his MVP showing at the NBA Celebrity All-Star game and the viral video of his one-handed catch, received a text from the NFL the next morning requiring him to administer performance-enhancing substance test. So he posted that on his IG story that he has to report as soon as possible following his MVP All-Star Celebrity Game performance for his drug test.
Classic, dude.
Every time, right?
It really is everything, though. Like, if you do anything cool, they're just like drug report. Yeah. Kicker kicks 5 field goals, right? Every time. Drug test, right? So can't escape them, DK.
They got to protect the integrity of the NBA Celebrity All-Star Game at all costs, guys. If we can't believe the results of that are honest and full of integrity, what can we believe in today's day and age?
Right. I mean, if you watched any of the actual All-Star game, you could tell that was a very serious game. I don't think I saw Luka go inside of either 3-point line on offense or defense. He was just jogging. He was just jogging around half court. Like
during the All-Star game?
During the actual All-Star game. Like I watched a little bit of it, and like Luka was literally just jogging from 3-point line to 3-point line. Just no defense and just kind of looking to take shots. Like it was quite the effort.
Craig in here said, I enjoyed the duck contest. I missed the duck contest. I must have missed that one.
Duck contest.
I just made a pig noise on accident.
What was that? Was a pig. I wasn't eating a duck.
I thought Doug, pig came out. Something got crossed there. Okay, phew. I had to make sure I still could do it.
Hogs up, dude.
Craig said, make sure you drug test Joey after his performance in Vegas. Oh, don't worry. We have already collected many urine samples. So we'll just test a couple of we can spare one or two of those for drug testing.
we actually spent most of our time there collecting urine samples from various people throughout the industry.
Mostly Joey, though.
Mostly Joey. Yeah. Almost half of them are Joey, yeah. But we did get Scott Fish and and like Digger Turnbull, like just all the big wigs. Because you gotta make sure that this industry is staying clean,
100%. Yeah, we're drug testing everyone over here, making sure that things are going well.
Which everyone was surprisingly very much on board with. It's a great industry. It truly is. Who's your favorite person to see? I don't like to single anybody out, but
Simon, damn it.
I was just trying to twist your game because I'm not playing otherwise.
I was trying to set it up where you'd have to pick one name and it mean you weren't happy to see anyone else.
Yeah, I refuse to play that game. This weekend, there was some more sports that kicked off, some more football for anybody that was craving football already. The XFL started this weekend. I didn't get to watch any of it. We were pretty occupied on Saturday, pretty busy, but I plan on going back and watching some of it today, getting ready for next weekend. But I saw some highlights from this weekend, one of which I thought was interesting. The St. Louis Battlehawks converted on a 4th and 15 play from their own 25-yard line, which is something you can choose to do in the XFL instead of an onside kick. So instead of an onside kick, you can choose to take a 4th and 15 play from your own 25-yard line. If you complete it, it's the equivalent of an onside kick. You get to start with the ball. If you don't, the other team gets the ball, gets to start where you lost possession. It's a 4th and 15. The NFL had brought up as a potential rule change in the past, but it didn't get much traction, and now we're seeing it happen in the NFL. And if you guys haven't seen it, you should watch the video. It's a pretty cool rule change. I like the idea because onside kicks are, I feel like, such a crapshoot. Now, this is also a crapshoot. It's got very real consequences of not getting it, but it seems to be a little bit more in your control whether you succeed or fail on it.
Yeah, I love the whole idea of the XFL. We need more developmental options, and this, like you suggest, gives us a testing ground, much like minor league baseball. Like they tried a ton of stuff out in the minor league. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. Now they're implementing it into baseball. I'm not sure if you've been following that, but there is one controversial rule that they are bringing over that people don't seem to like, which is starting extra innings with a guy on second base. But for the most part, the changes have been positive. So if we have a league like this, we can try this stuff out, see what hits. I love it, dude. I hope that, dude. Onside kicks, they're all right. The percentage is so low, though. I don't know.
Yeah, and they've made rule changes recently to make onside kicks less likely to happen, right? Like there's safety rules. There are rules for player safety, which is necessary. But because of that, the likelihood of an onside kick is even lower than it was 5 years ago. Right. I'm all about this. I'd love to see teams who need an onside kick. It's less than 2 minutes. They scored to put them within 7. And instead of just hoping that it bounces the right way, they get to line up at 4th and 15 and just take a shot, go for it.
This is like, I feel like Patrick Mahomes is just celebrating right now. This feels like his rule.
Right. You're right. You always feel like Patrick Mahomes is still in the game, even without this rule. Know what I mean? Like, oh, he can come back. Oh, they're down 3 scores and it's the 4th quarter. He can come back. Now they're going to be down 2 scores with 45 seconds left, and it's going to be like, oh, he can do it.
He's got it.
He's got it, without a doubt.
The Mahomes, he kind of is the math. Like all these quarterbacks have like their specialty. Like Aaron Rodgers has he draw you off sides and then convert that play, right? Tom Brady's is kind of the QB sneak, and then Mahomes is just like the miracle play, like the scramble around and make like a 20-yard play. So I'd be going for it every time with that guy.
Every single time. They never kick off again. The Chiefs just 4th and 15 every single time.
Yeah. Now, as a big Reddit guy, my favorite thing that I saw, of course, had to be Josh Gordon touchdown, which is already the 3rd highest post of the week on the fantasy football subreddit. Number one is Calvin Ridley being reinstated. Number two is Aaron Jones agreeing to an extension, which, granted, you got to remember those other two things happened 3 and 5 days ago. And then number three on the subreddit, if you sort by week, is a random touchdown to Josh Gordon that happened 3 hours ago, and it is climbing. So that subreddit, they'll never give up hope. They'll never give up belief.
That was Simon who posted that.
Yeah, it was me.
Did you post that?
No, it wasn't really me, but I am the man that every time like the name Josh Gordon is even spoken in the football sense, I get re-excited, reinvigorated. I never gave up. What I saw on that field in 2013 was magic. It was true magic what Josh Gordon did on that Browns team. Sorry for never giving up.
Simon, you are very susceptible to the hype train, I will say.
Oh my God.
But
I'm selective about my hype trains.
Yes,
but when I get on them, I get on hard.
Okay, well, I got to ask, were you on Christine Michael?
No, I was not on the Chosen One's hype train.
That was smart. So we
stayed away from that one.
Stayed away. Well, that was smart because that one picked up like 10 different times. Every time he got signed, it was like, that was the time. Were you on the who was that guy for the Raiders? Warren? Tommy Wright, remember? There was a huge offseason train for him. Yeah. So you're good with that because I know you were on Rashad White, which that was, positive hype train.
We'll see.
So far,
I was also on Sky Moore in the offseason, and so we'll see. That one's still up in the air. Probably a little too ambitious on that one, and Darnell Mooney the same. We got Tim in the chat talking about this onside kick rule change in the XFL, saying, and the Chiefs, now up by 79, are lining up for an 8th consecutive onside attempt. Their defense hasn't played a snap, and the Chargers defense is gasping for air.
That could be. I can see it, dude.
Legitimately,
they'll have to see because if their teams are converting them too often, they'll have to make it a longer and longer play. What is it right now? The distance?
15, 4th and 15 from your own 25. So it's pretty deep in your own territory, and it's a long play. So it's anything but a given.
And it basically ends the game because then the other team's going to get a 3-point field goal, nice and easy. If you don't get it,
easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah.
Hype train, Tommy, not Randy Moss or Antonio Brown. This was like the shortest preseason star ever in fantasy football. It was a guy, Chris Warren. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but there was like this crazy hype one preseason, and I don't even think he made the team. Like I think he might have been cut at the 53-man deadline. But just some recent hype trains that got a lot of control.
Saw an update from Adam Schefter, some more coaching news, and this one caught me off guard a little bit, but Schefter's reporting that former Jets and Bills head coach and current ESPN analyst Rex Ryan interviewed this Saturday in Denver for the Broncos defensive coordinator job. So now Ryan and former Broncos head coach Vance Joseph are amongst a handful of candidates for the job. And Rex Ryan told ESPN he would only leave the network for the perfect job situation. But Rex Ryan is now a finalist for the DC job. Are they just assembling like the media Avengers over there in Denver? Like they've got Rex Ryan, they've got Sean Payton. Who else can they put on that squad? Like,
I'm trying to think if they can somehow get John Gruden exonerated and bring him over too.
Absolutely not. That would fit with like the kind of hires that they're making right now.
I think that one may have sailed, but yeah, that would fit. Anybody else out there? I mean, I'm seeing some interesting names getting jobs now that weren't even involved at all. They were just kind of thinking about coaching. I saw
Craig's got it. Jason Garrett. They need to add Jason Garrett to that coaching staff 100%.
Oh my God, dude. No.
And Jimmy Johnson, special teams coordinator, Joey said.
Yeah.
We just built the rest of your staff, Sean.
You're welcome.
Daddy Peyton.
Invoices in the mail.
The guy I was thinking about, D'Angelo Hall, just got hired as a assistant defensive back coach for the first time ever. So his first job is going to be in the NFL, but for the Panthers. D'Angelo Hall is a great player.
I feel like there was another former player that I saw hired. Can't pull it. That's a pretty good story, isn't it? That I think I saw some other coach that also got hired. Joe, what do you think about that?
I think it's pretty good. I would
Yeah.
say thought-provoking.
Here it is. I found it. The Steelers are expected to hire former NFL linebacker Aaron Curry as a linebackers coach on their team. So Aaron Curry, who played, or he's been on the Seahawks coaching staff the past 4 seasons, expected to go over to the Steelers. Less exciting than I thought it was. Coop's cooler.
Still exciting. No, it's all exciting stuff. I would like to see more former players in there. It's time. It's time to see more because like we talked about, we want to see more of these guys that are connected to the league. Obviously, more people of color, and a guy like Aaron Curry is a perfect example, right? Why would not bring in these guys that are connected to the league and can vibe with the players, right? So I love seeing that.
That know the game, that have played in the league 100%.
Exactly.
Or you can just freaking hire Rex Ryan again. I guess
Probably
your choice,
will.
Broncos.
Probably will.
Jesus, man. You're going to just really Rex Ryan?
Out of all the choices.
The thing is, though, I don't know. See, the reason, and this is coming from a Patriots fan, so you got to give me some credit because it's easier for me to just hate. But with a guy like Rex Ryan, we look back and he was head coach at a couple places, and then he went right from head coaching into the booth. A lot of times, we don't mind when the head coaches go and get a coordinator job if they flame out. So I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't mind. It's not like you're bringing him to be head coach. Let's put it that way.
He was pretty bad. Pretty dad.
He was a bad dad. Yeah, he was kind of rough. But maybe, again, some guys aren't fit to be head coaches that can be good coordinators.
That is a true statement. Well, Rex, I'll miss you on ESPN. So maybe just stay on ESPN instead of going to the Broncos. That's what I'm thinking.
Producer.
Also, keep in here Jets fan saying he wasn't a bad coach. We'll see how it pans out over there. I see an interesting statistic about Justin Herbert, kind of putting into perspective his performance over the past couple of years under the coaching staff they've had. Last season, he became the first quarterback since 2005 to average less than 6.5 air yards per attempt. So that's the distance that the ball travels in the air after it's been thrown, and still throw for over 4,500 yards. He's also the only quarterback to throw for over 4,500 yards, despite fewer than 30% of his passes traveling beyond the first down marker. So he's getting these crazy yardage numbers, just chucking the ball, dinking and dunking down the field. Average depth of target 6.5 yards, dinking and dunking all the way to the end zone. They got a new OC coming in. Justin Herbert could be primed if we're expecting this offense to change a little bit, not to stay the same dink-dunk offense that we've been seeing. This could be a big year for Justin Herbert because he's done just about everything he could do with the offense that's been placed in front of him, right? 4,500 plus yards, throwing less than 6.5 yards per attempt. Give him a little bit more air under the ball. Let him chuck it out a little bit more. We could be looking at a huge Herbert year next year.
The funny thing about the Joe Lombardi situation is that we knew that was going to happen. He did it when he was with the Saints, throwing 1 million passes to Alvin Kamara. When he was with the Lions, it's harder to notice it with the Lions because it was spread out among 3 guys. But when you add up Reggie Bush and Mikel LaShore and whoever they had, it was well over 100 targets. And then look at Austin Eckler, right? So I'm not surprised at all that that's what the offense was the last couple of years. And I'm excited to see something different, right? I just hope they can actually keep the guys they have there because there's been some rumors that they might have to cut Keenan Allen and or Gerald Everett. And it's a little less exciting if you lose all your weapons, Do you guys think that that's possible? Mike Williams, they just extended him. So he's locked in. I think Austin Eckler is under a pretty good contract. But I saw both names were mentioned on the chopping block, Keenan Allen and Gerald Everett. Would be pretty weird to see Keenan Allen not on the Chargers, right?
It would be. I think Herbert will be fine without Keenan Allen and Everett. I think they'll likely fill in those positions. I can see it happening.
Is it Josh Palmer season for you guys? If
nope,
it never will be, but could be. He had a couple good games while those guys were hurt.
He did have a couple good games. It would be Mike Williams' season if Keenan Allen gets cut from this team. That's the season it's going to be. Josh Palmer will be draftable, but he's not going to be like a wide receiver 2 in my mind. I'm not going to have him up there as a must start every week guy going into the season.
No,
we'll see.
I'm on board.
So Keenan Allen getting cut, while not good for Justin Herbert, not good for the Chargers, he's good enough that wherever he goes, I'm confident he'll be fantasy relevant. It makes Mike Williams even better for fantasy. I've brought this up before on the show, but I like for fantasy, especially for wide receivers, it's probably good news if Keenan Allen gets cut because we've seen Mike Williams without Keenan Allen. He's the wide receiver 1 on that team, and Keenan Allen's most likely going to be the one wherever he ends up.
Does he immediately become the best free agent wide receiver? I mean, would you rather?
I mean, it's him or Juju or him or Allen Lazard. Like it's Keenan Allen, and I don't think it's close.
Or him or DJ Chark. Hey Joe, would you rather have
Nope.
Keenan Allen or seven DJ Charks?
Keenan Allen.
Or Joe, would you rather have a giant, delicious, warm cinnamon roll for breakfast or 7 piles of dog shit? But you get 7 of them.
You guys will come around on DJ Chark eventually. I'm telling you, it's only
Probably not.
It's only a matter of time, baby. He's still young. He's only 26. He's got.
So am I. I'm only 28.
Well, I'm still.
I got plenty of time to hate him.
I think you still got plenty left in the tank too, Joe. You got plenty of time to hate. You're only 2 years ahead, so yeah, you can hate pretty. Let's see who outlasts who.
Whenever they say I've got plenty left in the tank, what's in the tank? You got plenty of what left in the tank?
I got plenty left in the tank.
Oh, sorry, that wasn't. That aggression wasn't aimed at you. It was like in general towards the phrase. Like,
I see.
What does it mean? What kind of tank? I don't have a tank.
Obviously, talking about soldiers.
I got plenty left in the tank, in my tank. So it's truly just an expression. It means nothing.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald had a nice little streak going into the season on PFF of being the highest graded interior defender since 2013. He hadn't been beat. This year, someone knocked him off the top. His streak is over. Do you guys know who knocked him off?
Who?
Sauce?
Chris Jones was the number 1 interior defender, the highest graded PFF interior defender this year, knocking Aaron Donald off of his throne, which has been untouchable. Absolutely untouchable.
That's pretty impressive, man, because Aaron Donald has been the dude. Like, he's probably the closest that we've had to Lawrence Taylor. I mean, he has been in the MVP conversation every single year and the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. So pretty impressive by Chris Jones.
2013 was the last year that Aaron Donald didn't win it. Do you guys know who won it in 2013?
Who?
Wait, the PFF.
This is the highest graded PFF player.
Was it Ndamukong Suh?
It was J.J. Watt. So it goes J.J. Watt in 2013, Aaron Donald from 2014 through 2021.
Dang.
And then Chris Jones. 2014 to 2021, the absurdity, that level of consistency, 8 years in a row is the highest graded interior defender.
What's
like we
changed?
talk about,
He's old.
God, I mean, he was probably number 2. If we're looking at the list, I don't know who was number 1. I don't even know if too much has changed. Chris Jones entering the league.
Wild.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing some research on the free agent class coming up. I mean, it's March 13th. Is the date for the legal tampering period. So right around the corner, right? And there is a lot of analytics and stuff pointing at teams caring more about defensive pass rush from the interior. So there are some names that could be like moving around. Both Eagles guys are up. Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave. And Javon Hargrave was, he was the killer. He was the guy that basically won that game versus 49ers getting to the quarterback. Dalvin Tomlinson. So I don't know. I think Aaron Donald is a big part of that shift. Where, like, he's the reason that people are starting to care more about interior pass rush, which for the longest time nobody cared. It was just like big run stuffers and whatever.
So I pulled it up. Aaron Donald was actually number 3 this year. Aaron Donald was the 3rd highest graded. Number two.
Wilkins, your guy, right?
Yeah, he was on the Giants. It's a Clemson guy. It's a different Clemson guy.
Shaq Lawson.
Nope.
What? Is it?
He's not on Giants.
He is not. It was Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence is who I meant,
number...
not Shaq Lawson. He's on the Bills.
Wrong blue New York team. Wrong blue New York team.
Dang.
Dexter Lawrence, you got it, JL. But we got Dexter Lawrence, a Clemson boy, sitting there at number 2, and then Aaron Donald at number 3. But the reason I looked that up, JL, is what happened? Nothing happened. Aaron Donald is still one of the 3 best interior defensive.
Shout out Dexter
lineman
Lawrence,
noise.
though.
But for real, though, getting anything above Aaron Donald, that's a pretty good accomplishment.
That's crazy.
Looking all right out there.
Yeah, and I feel like his name is not anywhere nearly as known.
It's not a
I don't
synonymous
hear it
with
very
like
often.
top defensive players in the league. You don't hear people say Dexter Lawrence. You hear people say Aaron Donald and Chris Jones.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say it. Clemson's a good football school. Are you happy, boys? Are you boys happy this morning?
No.
What more? What more? What more do you want? What more do you want from me?
7 hours of sleep, please.
Yeah, well, I can't get you that, dude. We left all that.
Please.
Left it in Vegas, dude. Yeah, telling me, dude. I just want to shower. Dude, sleep is a luxury.
I really thought that was going to do it, guys. Me screaming please at Coop. I thought that's what was going to get me.
Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. I don't know. Would one of you do a solo show so the other two could sleep right now?
If I'm the one not doing solo one, then yes.
I would do it, boys. Go ahead. Go take a nap. I got this. Let's go. It's Coop.
Thanks,
It's
Coop.
Coop and the Coops. No hogs.
It's Coop and no hogs.
Coop. Welcome back to Coop and no hogs. Run Josh Gordon.
Welcome back to
Every
Coop's hogs
show.
are all gone.
The hogs are gone, baby. We're just gonna go through free agent tight ends one by one. Free agent tight ends.
That sounds like a super villain from a knockoff Frozen movie, The Freegent. It's the Frozen.
Joey
Regent.
said Jimmy
Just mix them
Johnson,
together.
special teams coordinator and team hairstylist.
I knew he was going to be the special teams coordinator. I didn't know he was doing the hair as well.
Team hairstylist.
I know we've talked about it on the show already, but we were looking at the pictures again this weekend, and Mr. Davis,
Jimmy Johnson's hair.
No,
it is nice.
Mark or Al Davis, whichever one is the son, getting Mark Davis with his head shaved. Just every time I look at the picture, that's a different man. He lost 20, he gained 20 years of his life by cutting that hair off. He's handsome.
It's amazing. We did not talk about it on the show. I don't think we did. It is incredible. I have the FOMOs for him that he spent all this time with that rug on his head instead of doing this years ago, because he looks amazing. He looks like a supervillain
In the best, in a
good
charming
way.
kind of way.
Yeah. I mean, being a supervillain's kind of dope. Is it not?
It's pretty dope.
Especially if you're a Raider, right? That's all they've ever wanted, was to just be like the evildoers.
Do you guys see Marshawn Lynch's quote this past week?
No, but I'm so excited to hear it.
He was on some podcast. He said he was talking about the Super Bowl moment where he did not get the run and the Seahawks turn it over to lose the game. He said, we at the peak of our careers, the opportunity to go ahead and start a dynasty, and then we fumbled the bag on the 2-yard line. So Marshawn Lynch has not let this go.
Fumbled the bag, man. There's a lot of different narratives I heard around that play. The boring one, of course, is that it does kind of analytically make sense to throw it there. Right? But the one I've always thought is that maybe they wanted Russell Wilson to be the MVP in the face of the team and everything, and that's why they didn't give it to Marshawn. I heard a little bit of that rumor. Do you think there might be any truth to that? If you're picking, because whoever scored that touchdown probably would have been the MVP. I think Marshawn had one earlier in that game. So did Russ. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? You think that that's something they would even consider?
No. I just find it so hard to believe that in the last play to win the Super Bowl, that any sort of ego would get in the way. Talk about an ego eraser. A Super Bowl trophy sitting on the other side of that play, that'll feed your ego enough for you to have to play this little game in the end zone. Now, that being said, I think maybe not directly, but it could have been Russell Wilson is our superstar. Let's put the ball in his hands to win this game. Know what I mean? Less, I want Russell Wilson to be the MVP, and more, this is our quarterback. This is who we're paying. We win or lose with Russ. That could have been what they were doing, and not necessarily we want him to be the MVP.
I think they're just trying to win.
I'm with you.
If
I
I'm
think
Jim,
at that moment, that's the biggest game. Like you do not give an F who the MVP is. You're just trying to win.
well, if you're trying to win, you give the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Hopefully.
Unless you hate math, then yes.
Yeah.
I also sometimes hate math.
Sometimes I do. Do you think the whole thing was just to spite math? Like Pete Carroll,
Probably.
some math teacher in like second grade. Pete Carroll, she's like, "You're
Screw you, lady."
lady. She was like, you'll never win the big game, Pete." When he's like second grade kid trying to do.
He's like, "You're probably right. I'm a second grader."
Jokes on them because he did before, not that time, but the time before that he did.
Wild, pretty wild.
Pretty.
Uh-oh, Simon's frozen. He just was making that delightful smile.
It's post Vegas. Coop and the Hogs,
Coop
baby.
and the hog. And the hog. Coop, did you see Andy Reid is I saw this on Reddit the other day. Or I'm sorry, last night. Andy Reid, he's currently on pace to be the winningest head coach of all time, making the most conference championships of all time and the second most Super Bowls of all time. He's had the second most Super Bowl wins of all time.
Really? So like
if he can coach until the age of 70, so 6 more seasons.
That's a big caveat, dude. He's gonna have to. I think he might need to cool it on the cheeseburger talk and action if he's gonna go.
He probably should if he wants to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, so like right now it's Don Shula is 1, and I think Belichick's not even 2 yet. Somebody else is ahead of him because some of these guys, like Belichick, didn't start off that early and didn't start off that hot. Like it's crazy how long some of these guys coach for. But I think Belichick will probably end up 2 on the list when all is said and done. Don Shula is kind of way out there though, maybe even 100 more. Last I looked at it, because I was like, oh, Belichick has to be close. He really isn't that. He isn't that close. So, but that's kind of wild. I wouldn't have projected Andy Reid to be on that kind of pace. But I mean, those Eagles teams were good, and these Chiefs teams are amazing. So if they keep it up, who knows? I don't know. Do you think he could get there?
It's gonna be tough. I think he could get there. I wouldn't bet my money on it though.
Oh, actually, this year,
aren't the rumors that he's going to retire in the next 3?
Yeah,
I was going to say I'm like on pace. What does that mean? How many more years do we have to coach in order for that to happen? Because I'm not sure that dude has the desire for the longevity to be the most winningest coach of all time. Like he could probably stay in there, but man, to just keep working to that age, you don't want to do that. It's such a stressful job.
It's a ton of games. So I mentioned Don Shula is 1. He has 328 wins. Bill Belichick is 3rd with 298. Any guesses as to who is second?
No.
Old-timey Bears coach. He was also quarterback.
Don Shula.
Smudgerson.
It was Smudge Smudgerson, yeah, for the Chicago Bears. So this guy was he was at one point this is so long ago that at one point he was the quarterback and also the coach of the team. So I think that's why he's so
Wait, at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a huge list of like shenanigans he used to pull. Like he used to like put itching powder in the other team's locker room and like cut holes in like half the towels, and then the other half had like itching powder. Like he was just like a menace.
Was it Carrot Top?
Cut holes in the towel?
It was Carrot
Top. It was for their wieners, jail.
I was gonna say it doesn't seem like a prank.
Well, he was just, if you're not gonna put itching powder in every towel, so you had to do something to the other ones. Like, itching powder is too expensive.
Oh, I got the holes again. I wanted itching powder.
Yeah, the holes are the itching when you play against Mr. George Hallis. There you go. Tommy's got it. Papa Bear, George Hallis. There you go. And then number 3 is Belichick. Number 5 is Andy Reid. Any guesses on who number 4 is? I'll give you a hint.
Smudgerson.
You guys, dude. You guys are too good at this. You guys should have your own show in the morning.
We'll try it out.
Both of you did the same stupid shrug at the same time when I said that. Dude, you guys are the worst. Literally, you guessed Smudgerson for 2 and 4, and then when I tried to call you out, you just went, whatever. He coached. Okay, this guy coached for the Cowboys. He invented
Johnson.
He invented the 4-3.
Don't make me do it.
He wore a fedora. He wore a hat and a suit. He was fired
George Bond.
Fired by Jerry Jones.
I'm gonna tell you. Rhymes with John Candy. Schmon Schmandy.
Kind of.
Schmandy.
There's an NFL wide receiver that has the same last name as him, and the wide receiver's first name is Jarvis.
Yeah.
The Butler?
Yeah.
Jarvis the Butler.
John the Butler.
It's John the Butler. It's
Smudge Smudgeson.
Okay. I'm going to
John Landry.
It's Tom Landry is the name of the coach.
Ah, yes. Tom Landry.
And then Andy.
Name we all knew.
You guys know who Tom Landry is.
I knew Tom Landry.
George
Coop,
in the chat
first
said
I didn't-
XFL is pretty entertaining. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
I love it, man. And the thing is, George lives up this way. Like I want an XFL team up here. I would get tickets immediately, season tickets. Like if there was one anywhere near me, I would 100% go. Because we don't really there's not like people don't care about college football up here. Providence College doesn't even have a team. Boston College, whatever. So I would love an XFL team. I think they're missing a huge market by not putting another team up this way. I know, Simon, you got one down there.
Hey, Boston College shows up every year against Clemson, and
They do.
They lose.
But they walk through those
show
doors.
up.
They walk.
I don't know.
right
I don't
through
know
those
what it
doors.
is, but during the Clemson Boston College games in Boston, every time they pan over the student body, it looks like the saddest student body I've ever. I don't know if they're just cold, or if they have to study too hard. I don't know what it is, but something at BC is making those students sad because they pan over the crowd. Or maybe it's being down like 30-0.
Yeah,
in the
it's the
second
fact
quarter.
it's having one NFL caliber player every 5 years. Dude. There's been
and having to
basically
play
three.
Clemson.
Yeah. Can you name how many NFL players can you name that went to Boston College?
6.
I doubt it, dude. I don't even think I could. Can you name them? You can't
7.
name 6. Oh, are we getting into
This is a feeling lucky punk prompt.
let's save it then, because I want you guys to actually do it. Or no, let's do it right now. Do you actually think you can name 6?
No, absolutely not.
Can you name 2?
100% not.
No.
Yes, you can.
Justin,
I can't name my mother right now.
Yeah, that's true. You got Vegas or Brands. I can name 4.
Doug Flutie. Tommy
Flutie's-
said in the chat.
I can name 5 then, because I know that the guy named Gerard Phelan caught that Hail Mary from Doug Flutie. But he didn't go to the NFL, so no. Matt Ryan, Luke Kuechly, AJ Dillon, Doug Flutie. That's all I can name. If anybody else knows any, I'll be impressed.
We got Dustin in the chat. Coming back to the FYF chat. I don't know if you guys hit him while I was disappeared. He said, I know you missed me last week. We did, Dustin. It's all we could
did.
talk about. And
Dustin
Albert
was
saying
in
good.
Disney.
Yeehaw. Playing with
Disney.
Mickey Mouse and Pluto.
And
Albert saying
Pluto.
good morning, everyone. What's up, Albert? Welcome.
Morning,
in, my
Albert.
friend.
Morning, Albert. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, Tommy's rattling them off down there. And what would you guys call the Boston NFL, the XFL team in Boston?
The
The
Boston.
Boston buttholes.
I was going to go with the Boston Butthurt.
Hi.
It's pretty good.
I don't know. You guys
Pretty
seem
good.
pretty salty when you
How about
lose.
the
Pretty
Boston-
impressive. I like that one.
The Boston Creams? The
Ugh.
Boston Stranglers. That's kind of a dope name, honestly, even though
That's
you
terrible.
would never get away with it, though. Which one's more appropriate, the Boston Creams or the Boston Stranglers?
Creeps.
Boston creams. Oh,
The Boston libidos. That was
Nice.
the first word that came to mind. I was trying so hard to say something else, but I couldn't think of a single other word. Tommy said, that is horrible. Creams it is.
creams it is.
Let's make some shirts. And it's like a football, but there's like cream from the donuts coming out of the ends of the football as their
Donut
logo.
chat.
Like it's like a smushed Boston cream pie, but donut shaped, and you can see the cream squirting out on either.
Oh my, yeah, that'd be great, dude.
Actually,
Tommy,
a brilliant
I know
idea.
you got those design skills. Let's get a disgustingly creamy football on a team.
Ew.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's the logo, but they're called the Boston Stranglers. Creams is
It
just
looks like a it looks like a it looks like a donut that's been strangled.
the cream's all coming out.
It's just a hand squeezing a donut, and you see the cream leaking in between the fingers.
Oh God.
It's
George
an
has got
animated
it.
t-shirt.
The Boston Lobsters.
Boston Lobsters.
George got it. Boston Lobsters.
What's up, George? Welcome in, my friend.
Did
Welcome
you guys
in.
see that this year is the year that the smallest scoring average between games, the smallest margin of victory is a much better way of saying that. I don't know why I said the smallest scoring average between games. The smallest margin of victory amongst all teams happened this year at 9.8. Last year was 12.1.
It did feel not necessarily like games were closer, but like there was more uncertainty in who the best teams were in the league this year. Like we had a couple teams near the top, but then after that, it was just kind of like open season. Teams that I didn't think were losing, the Packers losing random games, the Bears coming out and winning a random one. Like it was, it seemed like parity was pretty even this year.
You know what's so funny about that too, Simon, is that's how I felt as well. But then when I like went back to look at the records, it was like so many teams won like 13, 14 games. Like the Bills didn't feel amazing, but then they won 13 games.
I put them up there in that category, but you're right. They had a period in the middle of the season there where they looked infallible at the beginning of the year, but where we started seeing some cracks in their infallible armor.
Probably the worst 13-3 team of all time.
Still 13-3, they'll take it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like that's how I felt though. You're right. I felt the same way, that I was like, this team's no good. They only lost 3 games. Going
back to like 93, the average of these margin of victory numbers are somewhere between 11 and 12. There's a few like 10.5 mixed in. There's a 13.1 mixed in a year that must have been more blowouts than not, or bigger margin of victory. But 9.8 is a pretty big jump. So the next smallest number is 10.5.
Dude, why don't we, you know what we should do? We should take that chart and then compare it to how good the best quarterback prospect is, and if teams are trying to tank. Because, like, you know, the year that you get Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck, maybe those margins are big, like, or Tua or whoever. I mean, this year there wasn't really anybody to tank for, right? The Bears, you know, the Bears aren't taking anybody, and I don't know who's trading up or who even is the number one guy right now.
Well, like, you say the Bears aren't taking anyone, but the reports are starting to heat up. And, of course, this happens every single year, right? They have to drum up interest around the number one pick. But I've seen multiple people coming out saying, I think the Bears should trade Justin Fields and draft Bryce Young. Trade Justin Fields and draft Bryce Young.
Oh, no.
Like, I have so many people ask me about trading Lamar Jackson for Justin Fields just so that they could get a first-round pick and try and get one of those QBs. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
It's risky, right? That's risky as hell.
If they do that, we're all going to have to apologize to LaShawn McCoy, of all people. Because he's like the only person that was saying to do that. Right
now, like, I'm seeing it come out more and more. Saying that, like, reports, I forget who said it, but the Justin Fields ceiling is a good quarterback. Bryce Young ceiling is a great quarterback, so they might try to take this jump. I disagree. I think Justin Fields ceiling is a great quarterback as well. You've got him on the team. He's still on his rookie deal. The only argument I've seen is that the Bears rebuild is so in the future that you will not compete with Justin Fields on this contract. And so what you should do is reset the rookie contract for your quarterback by taking Bryce Young, and then that will be your new window. That being said, you're resetting the contract and also getting a mystery box of a quarterback by drafting Bryce Young. There's no guarantee he's even half as good as Justin Fields.
When you put it that way, it goes back to JL's point of like crazy risky, right? It's like, let's just have no quarterback. Risky. We're better off having no quarterback than having a quarterback on their second contract. That has never worked.
And Justin Fields is not like he's what, going into his 3rd season. He's not that
right.
It's not like you're risking a huge contract. You still have 2 more years on the rookie contract, right? And
5th-year
option
was
great.
5th-year
That's
option.
what I meant. If it's 3rd year, 4th, 5th year,
5th, right? Because he's going into his 3rd. So they could even have 3 years left.
You're right. You're right. He's going into his third. Yeah. No, I was counting an extra year in there. Yeah. So 3 more years left on that rookie contract, and he looked fantastic this year. He needs to throw more for sure, but that's fixable.
Right. And like the thing was that he did show that he has the arm strength. I mean, when you look at the highlight reel, it's all 70-yard runs and 70-yard bombs. Like that one-handed catch by Donald Mooney, that was a chuck. And there's a ton of those on his highlight reel. So it's not like you can point at it and say, okay, this is Chad Pennington or whatever, or Pennington after the shoulder injury, where you say like, oh, he's never going to be able to make these throws. So I wonder if they think that this guy's a higher ceiling, what part of Justin Fields' game is missing that someone can sit at home and say, well, he'll never be able to do this, because I've seen him chuck it deep. I've seen him run. Like, what part is he missing? Yeah, someone's got to tell me that, because as of right now, I think he has a super high ceiling because he's got the arm, he's got the legs. Like, well, is there some way to prove that he doesn't have the mental capacity? I don't think so. It's not.
I think there's
handoffs a problem.
I think there's 2 categories of people pushing this narrative. One, grumpy ass Bears fans. Bears fans that are just grumpy and trodden down and beaten to death by this franchise. And you know what? Say whatever you want. I get it. You've had to be a Bears fan. If you want to make those calls, that's fine. Then the other one are people trying to drum up stories going into the draft with a first overall pick that maybe isn't crazy exciting unless it's traded, right? Like if they're not going to take a quarterback here, that's not as much fun for the media to talk about leading into it. So I think they stick with Justin Fields. I think this is just trying to drum something up a little bit.
And the third group, of course, being Bears shills that are just like local reporters that just want to make sure the Bears get the best return when they do trade that pick, which they will.
Yeah,
100%.
I think that's probably what it is. They're just trying to build up that value. I think you guys are right.
Yeah.
Tim in the chat said Bears sign Jay Cutler.
Now you're
smoking
talking.
Jay Cuddy coming back to the Bears, baby.
Jay Cutler.
That's the kind of news we dream of on this kind of show. Just
guys,
the complete nonsense, the biggest nonsense move they could possibly make. That's what I want to say.
You guys want to play some Weddle? We've got a streak going. Every single one we've played on this show, we have accurately guessed. I think the most amount of tries it's taken us is 5. But for those of you who have not played with us before, you can go to weddlegame.com to play along. It's a lot like the games Wordle or Quirtle. We're going to be guessing an NFL player. It's going to tell us about some of the things, whether they're right or wrong, if their position's right, their conference is right, their height is right. And we have to try to figure out who the player is. John Luke, you want to kick us off with a starting player today?
Yeah, I do. Can we start with Weddle? Oh, he's defense. Maybe on hard mode. Eric Weddle, who the game is named after.
That just clicked for me right now.
Why did you think it was?
Wait, are you kidding, Simon?
I just didn't think about it. It's not that I thought it stood for anything. I just did not think about it once. I just accepted Weddle is the football Wordle.
We've been playing this game every morning for a month, dude.
Okay, not once has Eric Weddle come up since we've been playing it, guys.
But why did you think that was
Eric
what they
Weddle,
named the football one?
I didn't. Jill, you're giving me too much credit. I didn't think. I just accepted.
Eric Weddle distinctly. Eric Weddle.
You can see the humor in it, though.
He did come up though on the show. Eric Weddle did. I distinctly remember he did, because
in regards to Weddle.
No, not in regards to Weddle. We talked about him. How
in regards to Eric Weddle.
We were talking about going out to watch. We're talking about going out to watch the. Dude, did Eric Weddle come up in regards to Eric Weddle though? No, we were talking about how like certain players like got a chance to go out and watch the halftime show at the Super Bowl, and Eric Weddle. There was a news story where he got fined by the Chargers for going out to watch the halftime show at a game, and his daughter was like performing in the halftime show, and they still fined him. That's what we were talking about.
Well, if someone would have said Eric Weddle, of Weddle's namesake, then maybe I would have understood.
Pregnant pause.
Yeah, that was my fault for associating him with the Chargers instead of course, the Weddle game, which we're now going to play. Right?
Of course. Now we're going to play jail beside
Eric Weddle in real life.
Did you touch him?
Not at a football game.
At a Joseph A. Bank?
At a Joseph A. Bank. We were both getting suits. His was too big. Mine was too small.
And then
Seattle.
it
Did
turns
you
out,
swap?
and then you
I'd say
switch
little
to
meat
see if it
cute.
made it better, but it didn't.
Did you swap? Did you swap suits?
We
And they fit?
swapped, but it ended up being too big for him, too small for me again. Don't know how that happened.
Weird.
And then
We just
everybody
both got small suits.
and everybody clapped.
And everybody clapped. And the rest was history. Let's go with AJ Brown as the first guess.
AJ Brown. Welcome
It's
to the
literally
Weddle.
the first name on there.
Well, you got to start somewhere. The team
Today's
and the
effort level.
division are wrong, so we know this player is in the AFC, without a doubt in the AFC. Their position is correct, so it's a wide receiver in the AFC.
And the
Taller than
number,
s-
let's go.
Pretty
Oh,
good.
the number is 11. Is not. No, the number's wrong.
But it's
But
close
it's
enough.
close. But it's close.
I know, but I just meant that it got close.
Yeah, so 11. So it's either 12 or 13. The age, they're either 23 or 24. And then the height, they're taller. They're 6'4" or taller. 6'4"
Wow,
or
that's
taller.
Pretty big.
It's a big boy. It's a big
That's
boy.
a big
And
boy.
they're an AFC wide receiver.
Yeah.
13. What about Keenan Allen? No,
Yeah, he's
too
older.
old.
That was my first thought too. I had the same thought, but I
T. Higgins.
13.
Yeah.
85 is his number.
12. Who's number? There's some 12s out there, but they're all in the.
Allen
lot of them are
Robinson. He's
NFC.
NFC.
Juju is too old.
No, he's not.
No, he's
Oh,
not.
yes, he is.
And wasn't
Yes,
it already Juju
It
recently?
was Juju last week.
He's 26. Juju is. Okay. What about
Rashad Bateman.
Oh, Gabe Davis.
Bateman's 7.
Okay,
Gabe Davis
is
13?
tall. I think he is 13. I think
Gabe
you're right.
Davis is 13.
Let's go with Davis. You guys
Is
want
he
to try?
25 or younger?
I think he is.
Try Dave.
Oh,
He's younger.
okay. So he's 23. That is correct. His number is 13, but it's wrong. So we know that the number is 12. He wasn't quite tall enough. So taller than 6'2", but we know that they're 6. They have to be 6'4", because if it was
Dustin.
6'3", it would have been yellow on the last one.
Dustin said, Simon, did you know that the name Wordle is based off the word word? Because you are guessing a word.
What?
Smoked.
Yeah, next try
And
to
wed
figure out.
is based off of a wed.
See, this is what I'm talking about. You act like that makes the logic clear all around, but Weddle's the whole damn name, and Wordle's based off of words. So you guys can get on out of here. With
Yeah,
your
it was a
mindset.
bit forced. I'm on Team Simon here.
Dustin,
was
I'm all about a good gotcha, but step your game up, man.
I
So
get
this
him
person's
more.
got to be 6'4".
Exactly.
Trying
Yeah,
to
they're
think.
6'4" exactly.
That's what you said. Okay, 6'4" exactly. Who's 6'4"?
Not
How many people do we know that's 6'4"?
in the NFL?
My old roommate,
that
Luke,
would- that's-
6'4".
Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but he's too old. They also got to be 23.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, is he tall?
I think.
I don't think so. That name says I'm not that tall,
Yeah. No, but I think he is. that
and he's
tall.
younger, and he's
He's not-
AFC.
He's not only 23 though.
What about Garrett Wilson?
Is he 23? That's too young, isn't it? Or he's too
No,
young?
Garrett Wilson's he's too young. He's 21. Garrett Wilson's 21. Neither of the Dolphins wide receivers are.
Michael Pittman, or is he too old now? He's probably too old.
He's
Nico
probably too
Collins.
Ooh, I don't know. Michael Pittman could be.
He's 11.
And we need
Pittman's
someone
number
who's
is 11.
12. We need
Oh.
someone whose number is 12.
This is too.
I'm bad at numbers, so I'm going to need your help on this one. Jerry Judy.
Jerry Judy could be right.
Get Judy in there.
What's his
Then-
number? What?
Then we can at least get this division. Let's at least work towards the division. He's not number 12 though.
He's not number 12.
He's number 10. Damn it. Okay. And not AFC West. That's all the information we got. Age is correct.
He's definitely not 6'4". All right, let's wake up, boys. So this got to be
AFC West, AFC East.
So we know it's
So we're
north
talking
or
about north or
south.
south. Let's rule out one of these
Oh,
guys. then.
Christian Watkins. Christian
Kirk.
Christian Watkins.
Christian
Watson.
Watson.
Christian Watkins.
NFC, right? The NFC.
he's
Yeah,
God,
NFC.
AFC North. So it's not George Pickens.
So it's not any of the Bengals, right?
Could be
Right,
T.
because
Higgins.
but he's 85, so we
He's
know it's not
85.
him.
Yeah. Okay, not the Bengals.
Baltimore, it's not Rashad Bateman, and so who the heck is it? Who the heck else on Baltimore would it be? No one's 6'4",
Devin Duvernay.
not
Not Duvernay.
6'4". and not 23.
On the
Pizzo, we
Steelers.
could rule out that Steelers.
Deontay Johnson's too old and too little.
Too old.
Too little.
Not 23 years old.
Who else is on the Pittsburgh Steelers?
George Pickens, too young.
Too young. Okay, so let's just.
Not Calvin. It's not Calvin Austin either. It's not.
Definitely not Calvin Austin.
Calvin.
What about Browns?
Donovan Peoples-Jones, Anthony Schwartz, Amari Cooper.
None of them.
DPJ is the only one that I have second pause about, but I don't think he's 6'4".
I don't think he's number 12, is he? He might be.
Get him in there.
Then worst case scenario, we rule out this
division.
That
entire division.
Donovan Peoples-Jones. Okay. Yeah, he's 6'2". His numbers, we are like sniffing this. We've named 3 23-year-old players in a row, all of their numbers between 10 and 13, all of their heights between 6'1" and 6'2", all the positions.
Oh, he's in the.
So now we know the division. It's
AFC
South.
Okay, is it Nico Collins?
They bring that name up earlier. He's a big guy, right?
He's big.
I thought he was a little guy.
His best comparable player is like Kenny Golladay. Ran the same 40 time, same draft cap.
No, you want to go with that?
Big. Nico Collins big.
We can try it.
Yeah, get him in there.
Let's see. Nico Collins is correct. We got it, baby.
Nice.
Nico Collins, the right
The
answer.
day after Vegas, they had no business throwing Nico Collins at us. When they should have given, us like DeAndre Hopkins.
The day after Vegas.
They should not have done that.
Derrick Henry. Give us one that's like on the extremes, just where everything just keeps telling us nope, higher. Nope, he's taller, bigger, faster. And Joey said Nico is 12, I believe. We got it in there. Nice job, guys. Coming up, we got some games we're going to play today. We got some predictions we're going to run through. We're going to hand out some superlatives, and we're going to play some Feeling Lucky Punk a little bit later today as well. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
This may be the beginning of the end for the University of Kentucky men's basketball team and legendary head coach John Calipari. Now, I know that might sound a little bit extreme, and I definitely don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but the University of Kentucky men's basketball team came into this season as the Associated Press's 4th ranked team. They had the 5th shortest odds to win the NCAA tournament. In Joe Lombardi's latest bracketology, Kentucky is on the first 4 outline. Kentucky has conference losses this season to the University of South Carolina and the University of Georgia in basketball. And that just doesn't happen. Now, you may say, well, listen, everybody can have a down year. Everybody can have an off year. Well, that's not really been the case. Now, Kentucky hasn't won an NCAA tournament game since 2019. Now, things started off great. From 2010 to 2015, Kentucky made 5 Elite Eights and 4 Final Fours. They won the national championship in 2012. Since 2015, Kentucky has made 2 Elite Eights and 0 Final Fours. So what's going on? Well, the talent is still coming there. They're still producing top draft picks, but Kentucky just ain't Kentuckian. Coach Cal just ain't Coach Calin. The last time we saw the Wildcats playing an NCAA tournament game, they were a number 2 seed getting taken out by the 15th seeded St. Peter's team. That was just last year. Now they're in trouble of not making the NCAA tournament this year. Hey, Coach Cal, you may be needing to be looking for a new hardwood to call home, because I think your time in Kentucky is getting ready to come to an end. For more content like this and the latest in sports news and trends, download the Better Sports Network app.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We got Joey in the chat with the Coop. I don't know why. Just throwing you a Coop out of nowhere. Coop is fully muted after that button push right there. But that's okay.
I was muted before, but I was getting the Coop because I got the Nico Collins. Let's go, dude. Even though somebody did say it quietly under their breath earlier, I think.
It was me. I said it quietly
Nico.
under my breath. It's me and Louis.
Joey was yelling. He didn't finish his sentence. He meant to say, Coop, give some credit to Simon too.
That's okay. It's a team game, baby. Also, Keith in the chat said, that's actually incorrect, Dustin. Weddle is named after spelling bee champ Eric Weddle. Checkmate. Oh my God. I love watching the spelling bee every single year.
I haven't watched in a minute, but man, did I love it back in the day.
The different techniques that all the different kids use going up there. I love the classic
scribblers,
right? The scribblers. They write it on the back of their name tag with their fingers. That's my favorite. They got to see the word. They're visualizing it, and then they kill it. There's an intensity to scribbling the word, to air writing it that, like, man, other sports just can't match it.
Yeah.
We're going to do our best to talk about another sport here, though. We're going to make some predictions for next football season, guys. The 2022 season is in the books. Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. We're already talking about next year. Some way too early predictions before we know how the draft goes, how free agency shapes up, how the rest of the coaching hires are going to land. The quarterback carousel still has to be determined. But we're making predictions anyways. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's do it. We're going to start simple. Coop, I'm going to start with you. Who's going to be the AFC champion next year? So the AFC representative in the Super Bowl. Who are we looking at?
Pats.
Pats.
No, I'm kidding. It's not going to be the Patriots. I think it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. And I was saying this honestly earlier this year. Like when we were going the season, I was like, I think the Bills are going to regret not loading up enough. Remember I was talking about like how all the teams that went to the two teams that went to the Super Bowl and a bunch of the playoff teams the year before last, they were loaded at wide receivers. The Bengals, obviously, Boyd, Higgins, Chase. The Rams had Cooper Kupp. When they lost Robert Woods, they went and traded for Weddle. I didn't think the Bills did enough this offseason in that from that standpoint, and I don't think they make that mistake again. So I think what happens is you get Von Miller back. They're going to go out, get another wide receiver, move Gabe Davis to be like kind of the what he should have been all along, which is either the next man up or just kind of the split end that comes in sporadically. And then I think they might even go out and get a running back. There's been a lot of rumors of potentially drafting a guy like Bijan Robinson, or if Saquon or Josh Jacobs or Joe Mixon, if he gets cut, end up actually becoming available. That team is a team that their window is right now, and they don't want to leave anything to chance. So for me, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm going out, I'm overdoing it with weapons. I am mortgaging the future, and I'm taking the most aggressive run at the Super Bowl possible. So that's why I think that this is the year they finally do it. They've been one of the best teams, and I think this year they go out and say, no chances. We're getting everything we possibly can. Add void years to everybody's deals if you have to. Mortgage the future. Win now. Trade your picks, whatever it takes. So Bills.
Bills for Coop. Jail, you agree with Coop here? You think it's going to be the Bills coming out of the AFC, or do you think a different team's going to come out on top?
I think it's going to be the Chiefs again.
I mean,
Chiefs again.
That's that.
As long as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there, it's tough to bet against them.
It is tough to bet against them. The team that I think is the most probably solid in the AFC. I think the Bills are solid. Don't get me wrong. They're probably right up there with them. I think between the Bills, the Bengals, and the Chiefs, we're going to have a crazy AFC next year.
Well, I'm going to pick a different team here than either of the two you picked. In jail, you just mentioned them. I think the Bengals are going to get it done. Joe Burrow, another year with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. This offensive line wasn't even supposed to be better this year, and all of a sudden it just got better. Like their offensive line just improved without improving on paper. If they can make real improvements to that offensive line this offseason, this Bengals team was almost there this year. After kind of being slept on, I feel like in the AFC, all the talk was Chiefs, Bills, Chiefs, Bills, Chiefs, Bills. The Bengals almost got it done. I'm rolling with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, maybe some Tyler Boyd still thrown in there next year, and the Bengals are going to pull it off.
Now, those three feel like the powerhouses, right? If you had to sneak a dark horse in there, because it's like, right when JL said Chiefs, I was like, okay, yep. Right when you said Bengals, immediately I'm like, yeah, of course, they were just there. If you had to sneak a dark horse team you think could make it in there, what do you guys think?
I'm with
Jaguars.
Tommy. 100% JL. I'm with Tommy and JL. The Jaguars are my dark horse team.
Tommy said Jaguars too?
Yep.
Nice.
I can't stop picking the Chargers, man. I don't know why. The Jaguars are the most fun too, right? Like there's something about this build that they've done that's really likable.
How about this one? The Sean Payton experiment works. The Broncos defense is as good as they were this year because they still had a good defense for most of the season. And the Broncos are a dark horse for the AFC next year.
Careful now, boy. You could end up eating a tomato on this show talking like that. Talking like that.
That's how you end up with a mater in your mouth.
That's how you end up with a tomato plant growing out of your keyboard, my boy. You got to be real careful with that talk around here. But hey, I don't think that's crazy, Simon, at the same time. Like, I once again am like, everything's what are they missing? You know? What's really missing? Do we actually think Russell Wilson is bad? I don't
think so.
I do.
Ooh. Maybe lucre bet between you two. How many wins do you think for that team this year, JL? Just throwing something out.
1 million.
For the Broncos? The Bronchies?
The Bronchies. The tomato.
I'm going to let you know right now, I am not making a tomato bet on the Broncos for next season now.
Before you spend your cycles.
It is February. February.
Put a tomato on the Bronchies. The line is set at 9.
I got to wait until
9?
Give me till April 9 before I accept any Broncos related.
9's a pretty good line.
Come on, guy. Put a tomato on the Bronchies. 9, you think 9's too good?
It's a pretty good line. Nick down here, another dark horse team saying the Jets with Rodgers. Whenever Aaron Rodgers inevitably ends up on the Jets. Has anyone checked in on him? Is he still in the dark?
I think he's still in the dark.
I was at the sportsbook thinking about it. I was at Caesars and I was looking at the lines, and I think they were plus 3,000 while we were there, man. $100 to win $3,000. If they get Rodgers, they have the line Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, Laken Tomlinson. They got 2 capable tight ends. Not amazing, but both those guys are capable in a pinch. The wide receivers are great. The offensive rookie of the year, Garrett Wilson. Corey Davis, I think, is a solid split end. Elijah Moore's fine. Then they have Breece Hall. And the defense looked awesome as well. So I don't know, man. Kind of is I don't know if I would pick them in something where we're just picking one team, but plus 3,000. I don't know.
I don't know.
Wonder what the odds. What do those odds go to if they do get Rodgers?
Less. Probably.
Probably.
Less.
What are they at
I don't
now?
think you needed to go probably. I don't think you needed to go probably on that. Probably. All right. All right. NFC teams. Let's go. Less. Probably.
How's that for some Monday morning? That's the Monday after Vegas level of analysis you can expect from me.
Your brain should have at least accepted less, but it's
probably was too far.
I was hedging. I'm making sure I got my bases covered.
Less probably, yeah.
John Luke,
might even go to the plus 1,500. Honestly,
John Luke, who's coming out of the NFC next year to face off against? You said the Chiefs in next year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's tough not to want to go to the Eagles here, which just feels too chalk if I'm going to go Chiefs-Eagles.
Do it. Be chalk.
Considering the Super Bowl this year. But I do think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I don't think that's a question. I don't even think it's really close. I think 49ers are probably the next closest. So I will go chalk here. I'll just go Eagles.
They'll go in Chiefs and Eagles chalk for the Super Bowl next year. Man, it feels like the NFC is... There's the Eagles, and then it's a little bit open. There's a lot of question marks around some of these other teams that have been great recently. The Rams, I guess, are just bad now. The Packers potentially losing Aaron Rodgers. You can change your Chiefs one.
I'm going Dolphins, baby.
Yeah. Dolphins coming out. There we go.
I love it, dude. I love it. Why?
Well, I'm just thinking I don't want to go full chalk and that. I mean,
so you just want
to feel like I don't even need to really say it.
You want to do. So you're admitting that you wanted to make your picks look cooler.
It wasn't that. It's that I think that there are many teams that I think are not many teams. There are a few teams that I think are in contention in the AFC. I don't feel like it's a strong parity in the NFC. If I was to pick a dark horse NFC team, it'd probably be the Lions. but I think the Eagles are just solid. And I don't see another team apart from the 49ers that are really even close. I think the Chiefs have plenty of competition that are in their same lane.
You make a lot of sense, though, because like the third or fourth best team, so it's like 49ers and Eagles. The third or fourth best team, I was, again, looking at the odds. They feel like dark horses. Like to pick like the Cowboys, I should probably pull up the odds themselves, but to pick like the Cowboys or the Lions, it feels like dark horses. But those guys are top 5. Like the Lions,
They're like, yeah, they're like the next up that I would pick.
That's what I mean. And like
after the 49ers, that's probably like 3. And
right,
I don't know if I could put Lions in 4, but probably 5, maybe close.
they're somewhere right there. I mean, I'm trying to think who
think
else I would even
team.
put in that group. Who else?
And the way I'm thinking about this is like after the draft. So I'm taking draft capital into play here that like Eagles are going to, they have 2 first-round picks. Lions are going to have some good picks this year. I think.
Yeah. And they look good.
With it.
Tua look good, man. Through 25 touchdowns, only 8 picks. Toronto, I mean, and they showed that if you want to, like the 49ers did the same thing. If you want to be in contention right away, go and get the best possible left tackle that you can somehow get, right? Like they went and got Trent Williams, and you can never count them out with like when you have that kind of anchor on the left. And Teron Armstead, I felt that way about the Dolphins this year. It didn't matter who the running back was. I was worried about the run game, right? I was worried that they were going to be able to run all over, like as a Patriots fan, for instance. And then, they got the pass catchers, and they did some things this year with a new coach. And I love to see that they didn't sometimes a team will let the GM and the owner dictate too much of what you do on the field. Like if somebody gives Mike Gesicki $10 million, you feel obligated to play him. Mike McDaniel didn't do that. He was like, this guy doesn't fit. We're not using him. They went out and gave Cedric Wilson a bunch of money. He was like, nah, not you. I'm not doing that. They paid Chase Edmonds, and he shipped him off. They shipped him off. It's like, I love seeing that because it's like this guy knows what he wants to do. And next year, if they can manage to get out from Gesicki's going to be gone. They already traded Chase Edmonds. Like now they're figuring out who they want to be, and they can use that kind of money in those roster spots on things that they're definitely going to use. So if the Dolphins aren't ready this year, they're getting closer and closer. So I love that. Yeah. I do love that pick. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about them before moving on. But yeah, the NFC teams are pretty rough. Dude. I think we forget how good the 49ers were when they had their quarterback, right? When even when it was just Brock Purdy. Like the way it ended inevitably is what makes us not want to pick them. But I think
they're absolutely the only other team that you have to bring up with the Eagles on this NFC. And I think that they're just as good at the Eagles. I think that the Eagles have more leverage maybe, or they're more redundancy is a better way to put it.
Who's the 49ers starting quarterback next year?
Exactly. That's what makes me want to pick the Eagles. So I think I do got to take the Eagles, but I think we are perhaps discounting the 49ers too hard because of the way it ended with Christian McCaffrey at quarterback.
It's a good point.
Christian McCaffrey's not going to be the quarterback. He's not going to be Josh Johnson either.
No, but they are going to come back with 2 starting quarterbacks. So
but yeah,
2 Hall of Famers potentially.
Simon, you kind of popped out there a bit, but like when you talk about these teams, it does get tough after the top 2. Are you picking one of the Eagles or Niners? Or are you willing to go all the way down to the 3 or 4 best team, which feel pretty far down there?
I'm just looking at the Super Bowl odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now because I was curious because you're right. It feels top heavy. They've got the Eagles with the 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl next year at plus 900, tied with the Niners and the Bengals, right? So they're all sitting there at plus 900. The Cowboys are the next team. And then do you know who the next NFC team is after the Cowboys?
Is it the Lions?
It's the Lions. It's the team that you said earlier, Jail. So after the Cowboys, the NFC team most likely to win the Super Bowl is the Detroit Lions.
Nice.
And I'm not picking the Lions. Like, I like that Lions team, but they're not there yet. They're not ready yet. I'm going with the Eagles.
They might be after this year.
Maybe. But if Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl with the Lions and Dan Campbell, I'll eat a tomato, and I'll do it with joy in my heart.
That Penei Sewell pick just set them up.
Sexy. Hot.
So good.
Awesome.
But I'm going with the Eagles to answer your question. Jalen Hurts is going to get his next season. Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl. We get Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts facing off against each other. That'll be fun. I'm not sick of the Eagles yet.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like, and it's kind of the odds, that I was looking at, and it was a couple days ago. I tried to pull it up, but FanDuel still has Massachusetts blocked. I thought we were able to bet now, but anyway. When I was looking at the odds, it was really an indictment on some of these other teams because I was looking at them and like usually if a team's like plus 4,000, then I kind of like them. I would be willing to bet that like plus 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. And I'm looking at like you have the Giants and the Vikings and those teams up there, Simon. They got to be like plus 4,000. I was looking at them and I was like, I don't feel like betting on Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins because I don't really believe. Like I believe they can win games, but do I believe they can win the Super Bowl? Not really.
Nope.
Sorry. And then like the Packers, you're basically just betting on what team Aaron Rodgers plays for almost. Like if he doesn't play for the Packers, you already lost your bet. And if he does play for the Packers, then you still don't have good odds, right? So can't bet on a team like that. Very strange atmosphere in the NFC. Now, if we find out that Matt Stafford is fully healthy and ready to go, do you consider that team in the mix, or do you think they've too many pieces of the ship have fallen off at this point for them to?
That team looked more than a Matt Stafford away from being a good team last year. And maybe that's just the eye test betraying me, but that team didn't look like you plug Matt Stafford in. Oh, the Rams are a Super Bowl contender. It just didn't feel like that. So I'm gonna hold off on considering them an NFC favorite.
I think they're going to bounce back this year. I think they were definitely dealing with a lot of these injuries. I mean, they were fantastic the year before with Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, getting that combo back. Hopefully they're able to make some improvements to that O-line that seemed to catch them off guard this season. And that really, I think, is the biggest hole in that team is that O-line. So
the best news they got is that they've got their franchise quarterback in waiting, ready to go. Just learning behind Matthew Stafford for a year, and then Baker Mayfield's going to be ready to take the reins and run that franchise once Matthew Stafford retires.
You think he's happy as a backup?
Honestly, I think he's happy with Sean McVay. I think he's happy with a coach that is kind of working with him, because even in those games we went out there, you could tell Sean McVay kind of trusted him and was feeding plays to him through his headset. Like the stories that were coming out afterwards, I don't know if he's happy being a backup, but I think he's in a system that's working with him, and he's probably happy to be there instead of the chaos that is the Browns organization or over there on the Panthers team trying to figure out what the hell they're doing.
Right.
I mean, that was the whole thing with Jared Goff, is that reportedly Sean McVay was calling audibles at the line through the headset and stuff. So if I'm going to be a quarterback and try and pick up a playbook on the fly, that's the place to go. So yeah, I did like the spot for him. The thing I didn't like about the Rams Super Bowl, sorry, Ani Coop, of course I was rooting for them, but I every step of the way I was like, you can't just give the ball to one player the entire game and have that work. And then that team kind of proved that yes, you can. Like Cooper Kupp they went every single game. It was like 15 targets and then they won. So I don't know. I like it for fantasy football, but it seems weird that actually worked. That was like if Daniel Jones won the Super Bowl throwing 185 targets to Odell Beckham. Sorry, not Daniel Jones. Eli Manning throwing 185 targets to just Odell Beckham. It's like, it's not supposed to work. It's supposed to be good for fantasy, but it's not supposed to win the Super Bowl. Right?
And then it does. We got some sports advice in the chat. Our friend telling us, come once to a basketball game in the Euro League. I promise you such a thrill you will not experience in the NBA. Cheering fans, jumpers, lightning, smoke flares, and firecrackers, and best of all, cursing.
Oh,
they got it all in the Euro League.
That's a little dangerous. Smoke flares and firecrackers.
I'm about it. Next time I'm nearby a Euro League game, I'll try my best to get out there. I love a good sporting event. I love some cursing and smoke flares.
It would have been so cool to see Luka back when he was playing for like Madrid or whoever played for. He was just like crushing that league. Right?
That would have been wild. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna pick our Super Bowl champions now. I'm going first on this one. Coop and JL, you guys will go after me. My Super Bowl matchup is the Bengals and the Eagles. And I think the Eagles are getting it done. I'm going to take the Eagles next year, going back to the Super Bowl, but pulling out the W this time. Jalen Hurts gets his first Super Bowl as an NFL quarterback, and everyone cheers. And then maybe people start getting sick of the Eagles. Coop, where are you going here?
I like that JL already typed mine into the thing, even though I
just copy and pasted from a previous one, and I'm in the process of deleting. So if you notice,
put it back. It's the Bills, man. It's the Bills. I think they do get it done. I think they had the pretty much everything they needed in place, but they went too thin. They need to go harder on luxury pieces. If that means bringing in one more wide receiver, bringing in a running back that is just a crusher that they can lean on. You know, if Josh Allen gets nicked up, so they don't need Josh Allen to run so much. So it's not so much on his shoulders. Like if they can bring something like that in, that'd be nice. Maybe even another hired gun at corner and just be over the top with cornerbacks, right? Trey White on one side and just bring in like Patriots did it when the team was the Patriots were not looking like a top contender, and then they went out and just gave Darrelle Revis $20 million to play one season and win, and then he left. And like, you know, sometimes you just got to bring in that hired gun and win while you can. And the window is open right now where they have these overlapping contracts. I think they get it done.
Bills getting it done.
Yeah.
John Luke, I said Eagles. Coop said Bills. Where are you going?
Let's go with the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Let's go.
Oh no! Wild,
Oh
dude.
yeah. I want the Dolphins, they have made a massive leap from last year to this year. That's just the first year. You got Mike McDaniel, first time head coach coming in. I think he's just going to get better from here. What'd you say?
I said, who needs a first round pick?
Who needs a first round pick? This team, you got Bradley Chubb, you got Tua, you got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. This team's fantastic.
If Tua's healthy, this is a team that we're talking Super Bowl. There's a lot of factors that go into it. This is a team that has enough talent to win a Super Bowl. Not that they're the best team in the league. I don't think they are, but I don't dislike the pick, JL. And Tim is throwing his Rubik's Cubes in the air celebrating.
I like that. I like those bets, though. I like the bet. When everyone can say to me, like, oh, if he stays healthy, I'm like, dude, what are you, a Dr. Fortune Teller? Like,
Dr. Fortune Teller.
You know what I mean? Like, people were saying
You're
that.
a doctor and a fortune teller?
Yeah, exactly.
An overachiever.
For real, though. It's like people were doing that on my Twitter timeline. They're like, I'm not touching Christian McCaffrey. I was like, why? You know what I mean? What do
Injury
you know?
prone.
Because he was injured
Really?
last.
Tell me about that.
He was injured a year ago. It's like, okay. You know what I mean? Every running back has been injured at some point. There's been like 3 dudes that have played every single game. And guess what? Christian McCaffrey is now the one guy that's played 4 full seasons. Nobody else is doing that. So
Christian McCaffrey was the funny case. And it felt like in the middle of all that, where everybody seemed all of a sudden out on Christian McCaffrey because he's injury prone. I think people just forgot what Christian McCaffrey was.
I know. Awesome. Like he was RB3. Oh, wait, no, he was RB4 on the Panthers. And then he went to the 49ers, and the rest of the way he was RB3. Like, he was,
I love how people are like, yeah, injury prone doesn't exist, but if you get injured twice in a row,
you're dead, right? Saquon Barkley can't be good again. Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Right. There were teams that were drafting CMC in the first round and Saquon in the second round. Steamroll City. So yeah, get out of my face with that stuff. I really, and that's such a good place to get value because we saw the year that Dalvin Cook went off, the year that Joe Mixon went off. Those are the exact years where people said, I can't get him because he's going to get hurt in the future. I'm like, dude, why don't you DM him and warn him if you know he's gonna suffer some, you know what I mean? He's gonna get serious. Yeah, you know he's gonna. Yeah, my favorite is I go, all right, what injury do you think he suffers? Right, and they're just like
the leg region,
ankle, knee. It's
like,
dude,
and then like, wow, that's weird,
right?
Because he was dealing with concussions before,
right? Like two. I mean, and it's like, so yeah. Tell me how Tua gets hurt. I guess if you say concussions, it's like sure, but like we don't know.
Break his leg, and they're gonna be like, see,
right? Then they say, yeah, got him. Yeah, I mean, like there's been a bunch of there's been a bunch of players like that though in the past. Like what happened?
Leaving little thumbtacks, sitting up straight in Miami, randomly around.
Just to be so you were right on Twitter months ago. Like people forget though that everyone was saying Devontae Adams should retire. Too many concussions, right? They were saying Brandon Cooks should retire. Too many concussions. No, where did that go? Why aren't people like? Why is that gone now? So
that's
I don't
a
know.
player ultimately. I don't think the advice necessarily is bad that maybe they shouldn't keep playing, but it also is the player's decision.
Right. It is, and
it's their livelihood.
When he says he's going to play, and the doctors say he's going to play, what I would say to you is shut up.
I agree with that, Coop. I agree with that. We got Tommy in the chat saying his Super Bowl prediction is Jags versus Vikings. Vikings win with a Justin Jefferson MVP. I don't think that's going to happen, but I like your prediction.
That is a dumb prediction.
Well, I don't know though, because we just talked about how Cooper Kupp did that, you know.
And Coop did hitch his horse to the Vikings wagon during the playoffs this year. You were all in on those Vikings.
I thought he was in on the Cowboys.
I was in on the Cowboys for what I thought was gonna happen, but then when we did that draft, and I got kind of that wasn't really by choice, Simon. That was more of like I needed a quarterback, and they were all gone.
Yeah, but I like to leave that part of the narrative off of it. He fully believed in the Vikings, and there is a draft that proves it.
Yeah, I mean, if you just pull up my team, it looks like I'm a big Vikings fan, but yeah, not quite.
Well, guys, let's hit regular season MVP predictions for next season. Coop, you've got the first prediction here. We just picked our Super Bowl winners and our Super Bowl runner-ups, NFC and AFC champions. Does the regular season MVP come from one of those two teams for you?
Yeah, and I got to stick with the same narrative that I think it's definitely going to be one of the two guys if these two teams make it, but I think it's Josh Allen this year. Like if they go out and get him the weapons that he needs to succeed and the team does win 14, 15
what weapons
games,
are those?
And just one more wide receiver, to be honest.
Chucks.
I think just one more wide receiver, and now Gabe Davis is, yeah, just like he needs one more ninja star, right? Like he doesn't even need. He's got the Stephon nunchucks. Just needs one more ninja star, but also if they add the running back too, that would put him over the top. But yeah, I think Josh Allen is an easy call for MVP if they make it to the Super Bowl.
Josh Allen getting it done. JL, you agreeing with Coop here? Or you think a different player needs some ninja chucks?
I'm going with Joe Burrow.
Ooh.
Joe Burrow to win MVP of the regular season. I think they get him a little O-line help, and I think this Bengals team is going to give us a run for our money. I'm not going to be happy about it as a Ravens fan.
Yeah, sitting in the AFC North looking around, it's just kind of like, those Bengals are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the only team I'm not scared of right now is the Steelers, and I don't expect that to be a long-term thing.
No, and Mike Tomlin's still the coach there, right?
Yeah.
Like even when you're not,
I still think they're competent, even if they're in a bad route right now.
I mean, I've just been sitting here cheering. I've been tooting the horn of the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins as a Patriots fan. So Pats are in a pretty rough spot too. So you're not alone, Jay.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Alone.
These two divisions are probably this and the one with the Chargers in it is probably pretty bad.
Now, did you guys hear what Jamar Chase had to say on Joe Burrow's behalf? It's kind of interesting. He said the quote was along the lines of, "I think Joe deserves to get paid, but he also knows that he wants to keep this team together." So he was like, he knows he wants to keep his weapons around, kind of hinted, because Jamar Chase is going to be there. He's already under contract for another 2 years with a 5th-year option. So he's there for 3 years. I think he kind of wants to keep his buddy T. Higgins on the other side, keep the pressure off him. So if Joe does work out a contract that keeps those guys around, maybe keeps Joe Mixon around too. I know he's due $15 million this year, with $10 million can be saved if they cut him. Maybe they just kind of all work together and keep the band together. That'd be pretty cool if you're a Bengals fan. If you're JL and you're a Ravens fan, maybe not so cool.
God. And I know I'm a Browns fan, but I want that group to stay together. That Bengals team is so much fun to watch. Like even as a fan of an interdivision team, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, like it's just fun, man. It's good for football. It's good for the NFL.
Whatever.
You think I could will this into existence? I want T. Higgins on the Ravens.
No!
So badly.
That would be terrible for fantasy football too.
It would be, but I'd love it so much. I'd have like 1,500 T. Higgins jerseys.
Your entire wardrobe would just be replaced with T. Higgins Ravens gear.
Yes.
Honestly, what would be even better for you, JL? Because I know you are a Ravens fan, but I feel like we could convince you if T. Higgins were to go to the Jaguars, and then it was just Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. If they were just Clemson, then it would be easier to just jump over there, right?
Yeah, but then I'd have to convince me. Had to live in Jacksonville, and I don't want to do that.
Plus, you don't have to live in the city.
You don't?
No, you don't.
Oh, the heck?
You have other connections to a city that makes you love it. And all those Clemson players would be reason enough, I believe.
Whatever.
As long as you jump on soon before the Jaguars win the Super Bowl, then it's
afterwards. Afterwards, I'm just a jabroni.
Yeah, then you're just a jabroni bandwagon fan.
Whatever happened to? I feel like when I was a kid, it was so much easier to hate other players. Like whatever, everyone's too likable now. Like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. But when I was a kid, it was so easy to hate like Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning, LaDainian Tomlinson. We need some of that back. We need more villains. We basically
I also think like as you become an adult, you probably get more life experiences that make you empathize with these grown ass men on the TV a little bit more.
That's true.
And it's less like there's less villains now and more. You're probably more of a villain to the 8-year-olds that exist now than you were whenever you were 8. You're
true. I
closer to
hated
Phillip
Mark
Rivers.
Brunell when I was a kid. Now I don't even think about Mark Brunell.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and it is a lot easier on me to pretend like Peyton Manning's to stop pretending like Peyton Manning's not funny because he. When I was a kid, I was like, this commercial's dumb, and then when I was alone, I'd be like, cut that meat. Cut that meat.
Is that a Peyton Manning commercial?
You don't remember the old Peyton Manning commercials when he was like in this? It was like MasterCard, but he was the fan of everybody else.
No,
You don't remember those? Oh, they were so good. He'd be in like the butcher shop, like with like a big foam finger, being like, "Cut that meat," or like they would have him all over the face. Oh, that's great, dude. But there needs to be
a show where they just have old commercials that just play. Like
MTV.
you just get to watch, like commercials throughout time.
Like old music videos, but instead they're just playing like 60s and 70s commercials.
What's that?
Time for our 80s hour. After the show, everybody go on Google Peyton Manning cutting his meat. And then that should be the first thing that comes up if I'm correct.
Perfect.
Should be.
For my regular season MVP, I'm going with Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts as my regular season MVP. I think if he didn't get injured this year, there's a very real chance he could have won it. But he'll run it back next season, play a fully healthy 17 games, take home the hardware on top of the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Oh,
Well, guys, coming up, we've got some more games that we're going to be playing. We're going to hand out some superlatives, play some Feeling Lucky Punk, and then somebody's going to have to sell someone a pen and sell me this pen. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Baby J just wrote in the chat as we went to break that Nick Sirianni is the most punchable face in the NFL.
I think
I don't see it.
Well, yeah, I think people are bothered, and you saw the Giants bothered by the fact of how he was acting and his antics. And I'm growing a little tired of Kayvon Thibodeau on social media. Everybody
he's bothering me a little bit.
Well, everybody that criticizes Kayvon Thibodeau, he's basically he basically tells you, I don't know who you are, whether it be Jeff Saturday or whether it be Joe Staley.
Yeah.
Julian Love last week going on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and saying Sirianni's in for a free ride. Just look how talented that team is. Well, I mean, I think it's a little unfair. If you're a Giant or you're a member or you are a fan of the Giants, you went in there on that Saturday night and you got embarrassed.
Doesn't it feel like sour grapes, right? Like it just feels like you guys beat me up, so now I'm just going to try to find a way to beat you down.
So, and if you're Kayvon Thibodeau, enough, shut up. I mean, you're on social media. Enough with the fact that anybody that rips you or criticizes you or going out there and saying or ripping the 49ers who didn't have a quarterback in the NFC Championship game and saying, well, we could have done a better job than what San Francisco is doing. Well, they didn't have a quarterback. And then Joe Staley calls them out. And then I got to have Michael Strahan tag teaming and jumping in and ripping Joe Staley. The fact that Michael Strahan got 2.5 sacks on him during his rookie year, where Joe Staley was critical of what Kayvon Thibodeau did this year. I mean, are we serious here?
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I mean, this is really what it's coming down to.
Yeah.
I mean, why not hold the young man accountable and say, no, listen, zip it, enough. Like you don't need to comment on everything, nor do I care. Yeah. You're not Micah Parsons. You're not Lawrence Taylor. You're none of those.
But
things.
He thinks he is.
Well, but that's the problem. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. And I would say he has a long way to go.
And maybe he becomes one of the best. He could.
I mean, it's possible. Do I think he's ever going to be Micah Parsons? I don't.
I don't. He's talented.
He's talented. I'm not telling you he's not going to have a successful NFL career. But everybody that criticizes him, he says, I don't know who you are. Well, why don't you look up and have for the men that played in this league before you and what they accomplished in this league? That the league didn't start the day that you stepped foot in the National Football League. And sometimes there's reasons why people are going to go out there. And if you're going to make comments as stupid as he did in the NFC Championship game, you understand that you're going to get called out for it. And if you get called out for being dopey, don't all of a sudden respond with, I don't know who you are.
Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Jay Frazier box set DVDs in Las Vegas and had to go get them real quick. As soon as he gets that back, he'll be with us, though.
Yeah, man. Binging those DVDs while everybody else went out to party and have fun. Oh, that was such a good time, man. I'm so glad we got through.
You got to bring it with you everywhere you go. How are you going to go on a trip without your Frazier box set DVDs?
Yeah. I also asked him to pick up a pair of sunglasses that I accidentally dropped while I was being very responsible at Omnia in Caesars watching some DJ called Loud Luxury. I was just kind of on the outsides looking in and drinking water, and they must have fallen. So I'm down to only 6 pairs of. Actually, well, I have the same number of sunglasses because I replaced them with these. But
there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him grab when he grabs Frazier. I want him to grab those. That I mean. Once again, I can't say this enough. Being highly responsible and highly hydrated with just water.
Absolutely. We got Hal in the chat saying, "What's the happy, y'all? What's up, Hal? Welcome in." And Fantasy Nav, Eric, our guest host last Wednesday.
Oh, dude.
Thank you so much for filling in last Wednesday, Eric. Killed it, and happy to have you in the chat. And Hal,
he crushed. I watched a ton of that in the. I was in the chat. It's fun hanging out. The chat is the best, dude. It stinks I have to be on the show because I'd much rather hang in the chat with the gang.
Honestly, every time I'm not on any of our shows, I'm always like, oh yeah, I get to hang in the chat. I get to go hang in the chat.
It is fun.
I get to just harass Jail and Coop or Joey or Jay, whoever's on there from the chat instead with Scampers and Dustin and Eric and Hal. Like, it's the bomb, man.
You get away with saying whatever you want, like, because they can't really. You know what I mean? You guys can't really put me on the spot. I could just say what I want, and then I don't have to respond to you. I don't have to do anything. Being in the chat's the best.
Coop, you know what they don't tell you about Vegas whenever you're getting ready to go out there? They don't iterate enough how much of a desert it is. It is so freaking dry out there. Here's a little warning to everybody. If you're planning a Vegas trip, bring lotion. Bring lotion, hand lotion. I came home with battle wounds from this weekend, Coop, from shaking hands with dry skin. By the end of Friday, my hands were bleeding. I had to stop shaking people's hands because I had bloody hands from being in the desert.
Seriously, man. And the other thing, well, and from your standpoint, who was really struggling with that was our friend Alfredo Brown, dude, because he came straight out of the fishbowl that is Miami, just like hot, wet turtle cage into a place that has zero moisture. He was having a rough time. He had to go directly to the chapstick station.
Oh, I get chapstick prepared. Always.
The other thing about the not knowing it's a desert is every time I fly into Vegas, it blows my mind. And I know I'll forget for next time too. But I look out at the actual desert where you realize that it is way in the desert, and I'm just like, oh my God, there's the Grand Canyon. And then 2 seconds.
First time ever I got to see the Grand Canyon from the plane. Like I've made this flight quite a few times now, and every time the pilot will come on the intercom, be like, "If you look out your right, you'll see the Grand Canyon." And I'm always like, "Damn it, I'm on the left." But I got it this time.
I don't think I ever actually have seen it from the plane, but everything looks like the Grand Canyon at least. Like
it is like red and
I see
mysterious.
When I see the ground for the first time, I'm like, there it is. And then 2 seconds later, we go by another one that's bigger, and I'm like, that must be the Grand Canyon.
Oh, so this is the Grander Canyon.
Yeah. There's a lot of Grand Canyons out there. They're all grand to me. I have not seen the official one. Someday.
I have had that same thought where I've looked out the window and thought, like, is that the Grand Canyon? Is that the Grand Canyon? Whenever I saw it this time, it was so apparent that this was the Grand Canyon. You know what I mean? Like before, I had no way of knowing for sure that those weren't. But after I saw that one out of the window, I was like, oh yeah, those were clearly not the Grand Canyon. Like,
You'll never be fooled by another canyon.
I'll never be fooled by another canyon again. I've seen what it takes for a canyon to be called grand, and now I know.
Now you just other people are saying that on the plane, and you just tap them on the shoulder. You're like, no, that's just a pretty good canyon.
It might be grand one day. A couple thousand more years of erosion.
Some river action. I think it is millions, dude.
It's probably millions. That sounds about right. Tim said, "Now those are Bland Canyons." The name of my band, the Bland Canyons.
Oh, dibs. The Bland.
What kind of music do the Bland Canyons sing?
The Bland Canyons, it's like they play the bongos, but the bongos are so old and beat up that they just go like, you know what I mean? Like there's no smack to them, but it's all the traditional bongo songs, but just a little more bland.
It's only traditional bongos. Eric said yacht rock for sure. The Bland Canyons.
The Bland Canyons. Hal saying I've never flown. Interesting. Just by choice or just not interested in travel? I don't know. I know a few people that have never flown. John Madden famously did not like to fly, and he would take a bus. Even when he was announcing, like he would just drive to all the games. So,
I've brought this up on the show before, but I love airplanes because I can always fall asleep on one every time. Like getting on an airplane is practically teleportation for me. I fall asleep before the airplane takes off about 80% of the time, and then I wake up when the wheels hit the ground, and I'm in a new place.
Dude, I did that on the way there where I fell asleep before the plane took off. And then I woke up and I looked out the window and I was like, nice, we're flying. But then I checked what time it was and it had only been like 10 minutes. So it was
you woke up because you reached altitude and your ears popped.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions. I was like, what? We're in the air? You know, and then I was like, wait a second, nice. we're probably already almost there. And then I looked and I hadn't gone anywhere and I had to, queue up a movie. And
that reminds me, as like a kid when you come home from school and you accidentally like fall asleep on the couch and you wake up and you're certain it's the next day. Like, oh shit, I got to get ready for school. Like you're 8 years old, stumbling around your room at 8 p.m. getting dressed for school. And your parents let you because it's funny as hell to convince your child that they're about to go to school at nighttime.
Dude, my roommates did that to me in college. I fell asleep and I was like, wake me up when it's time to go out. And instead of doing that, they went into the recycling and took like all the beers from like the night before and put them back out on the counters and the tables and stuff. And then shut all the blinds and literally waited till like the moment the sun went down. So it looked dark. And then they kind of like did something to wake me up. I forget what it even was. And then sat on the couch, like playing video games, pretending like I missed the entire night. And I've never been more pissed at these guys. Because I was like, dude, you're supposed to wake me up. Did you guys go to the bar? Dude? Was Ashley there? And then they were just like, it's still 7 o'clock. So it's time to go out.
What's up, John Luke? Did you recover your Frasier box set DVDs?
I did. And I watched at least one episode while I was recovering it on the way back.
And did you get my sunglasses from Omnia?
Oh my God, Coop. Those were your sunglasses. I thought they were the housekeeping sunglasses. My bad.
That's all right. I still have 6 pairs.
You'll recover one day. Well, guys, we are about to get into a game we call Superlatives. Think back to like high school. Most likely to succeed. Most likely to become president. We've got a bunch of superlatives like this that we're going to hand out to NFL players, coaches, people around the league that we think are deserving of them. John Luke, do we have some superlatives loaded up for today?
Probably.
I hope so.
Most likely. All right, guys, let's get into our game of superlatives. The first superlative that we will be nominating people for is kicker who will have the longest career.
Kicker who will have the longest career.
Kicker who will have the longest career.
I got mine. If you guys are ready.
Go for it.
So I'm going to nominate Evan McPherson for this one. And there's a couple reasons for that. One of them is that according to Jamar Chase, as we just talked about, Joe Burrow is going to sacrifice his own money out of pocket to keep all the boys on the squad. And Evan McPherson is one of those boys. Big point scorer for the team. I think he's going to be hanging around for a long time. Joe's going to make sure of it. The other thing is he's currently one of the youngest guys in the league. And you would think, Coop, wouldn't you want to pick one of the older guys so that they already have a good number of years on their belt? But no, I'm taking the youngest guy because I think the leg preserving technologies of today are going to be nothing compared to the ones of the future. The cryogenic, coolers that these guys are sleeping in after they boot a football, it's going to be game changing. I think Evan McPherson could be kicking extra points until he's 65 years old. So Evan McPherson, sign him up.
Evan McPherson nominated. Done.
Beautiful. You want to go next time or you want me to go?
If you got one, you go ahead, JL.
I will go with the man. I will go with the legend. I will go with the singer, Justin Tucker, Royal Farms elite here in Baltimore.
I tried to prevent you from doing that by throwing in my little part about older kickers, which didn't.
Nice try.
And I'm going to take a guy right in the middle age-wise. Someone, I don't know, he's a ripe, beautiful, some would say perfect age of 28 years old. He also happens to live in arguably the greatest city in the United States, Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
Yeah, the greatest city in the United States, Montreal, Canada. I'm going to go with Younghoe Koo. Younghoe Koo is set up to have a beautiful career. He's got the love of the fans already. Know what I mean? I feel like he's a crowd pleaser. And as a kicker, having the fans on your side is a necessity for a long career. As long as he keeps banging them through, the dude's set up.
Plus, he knows the way to stay young forever. The young way.
Peeps.
Marshmallow peeps.
Marshmallow peeps are the young way. Good.
Owning a Jeep while eating his peeps.
Owning a Jeep with the doors off and going to the beach. That's how you stay young forever. Blasting
Nick,
forever young.
Nick said Dicker the kicker as his answer. Cameron Dicker. He's pretty young, right? That's not an old kicker. Cameron Dicker is only 22 years old. So I like that answer as well, Nick. But we got Younghoe Koo nominated. We've got Justin Tucker nominated. And we've got Evan McPherson nominated. We'll see who comes out with the championship. Hal in the chat saying Younghoe Koo for the win. And Fantasy Nav, Eric in the chat saying McAfee for sure as the correct answer.
McAfee's a good one.
We know the length of his career.
That's true.
And he was a punter.
But he could come back.
That's very true. He could come back, especially XFL maybe.
And play a different position.
Make much less money doing XFL than just this show.
What do you think's more likely to happen? Pat McAfee has the longest career as a kicker, or Montreal becomes the greatest U.S. city?
I have to say the second one.
I'm going to say the second one as well.
Jury's still out on that one.
Yeah, I think the odds are actually somehow better of that happening.
Plus 3,000.
All right. Well, the three players that we have nominated are in the FYF chat. Go ahead and head over there and vote if you want to decide who is going to be the kicker most likely to have the longest career. Who will most likely have the longest career. Our next superlative is coach most likely to join the NFL booth after coaching career. After his coaching career. Coach most likely to join the NFL booth after his or her coaching career.
I mean, I've got an answer that feels almost too easy. So I'm just going to go with that one, if that's all right. Or are we doing some sort of rotation here? Because I went first.
No, throw it out there.
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer is, I think it's a guy that at any given moment could just retire and either maybe fully. I can see this guy just straight fully retiring and doing whatever he wants, but he could easily go in the booth because he's young, he's smart, he's Anthem. He's Sean McVay. Like, I don't see why. I think if Sean McVay said, I'm going to retire and I want to be a football analyst, the 3 and 4 letter network should be fist fighting to have him on the squad because he's a funny dude, man. I've seen him messing around with the players. I remember seeing one clip of him going up to a bunch of players riding the bikes, and he just goes, oh no, it's 5-0. And they all look around. They're like, oh, coach is here. Shh. like just like messing around, like as if you would like, watch out, it's the cops. You know what I mean? Like, but you could tell
Why
he's
do I
one
feel
of
like why do I feel like Sean McVay is just like Scrappy Doo grown up?
Dude, why is that so accurate? I think it's because of his shoulders.
Not even turned into a human. He's still just Scrappy
Still
Doo.
Scrappy Doo. He's a little bit more mature.
It's his I think it's his swag. The way his shoulders are kind of in front of him a bit. He's got that like puff
Sean
chest.
McVay.
Nice to
He's
meet you.
here. Nice to meet ya.
Get him in the booth. All right, what do you guys got?
Sean McVay.
Oh, I thought that was mine because I was so engrossed in that in that Scrappy Doo cop. I was so deep in that.
I'm going to go with a coach that loves the analytics. And so they're going to bring him on to bring a little bit of the X's and O's talks to the booth. And he's been on the hot seat the past couple of years. So this could come sooner than expected, maybe. I'll say Brandon Staley getting up there in the booth. He would bring a different kind of energy, I feel like, to a lot of these broadcasts. And the dude loves talking football. He loves talking ball.
Never hear him talk.
How much fun would it be to have him like breaking down like, oh, they really should have gone for it on 4th down on that play. They had a 74 chance of winning the game if they would have gotten it there. And now
it's just next gen stats personified.
And exactly. That's what I'm imagining is Brandon Staley is just like the Amazon Prime Vision, just out loud.
And he always goes for it. He goes for it so often that Linda, our resident kicker expert, she'll move their kicker down in the rankings because of Staley. Like, so he would be the guy in the booth that'd be like, I would have gone for it here. And then the other guy would be like, isn't that why you got fired? Isn't that why you're in the booth?
There's mine. So we got Sean McVay and Brandon Staley. What do you got, JL?
All right, I'm going to bring up, Nick actually beat me to it in the chat. I'm going to go with the man who is most likely to be in the NFL booth sooner rather than later, and Pete Carroll. Oh, gum chewers, please stop that for the love of God. Do
He's
anything
giving you a
but
sneak
that.
preview of what it was going to be like with him in the booth.
Pete Carroll, the look he has though is more like senator. Right? Like if he ran for senator, I'd be like, yeah, like Pete Carroll versus John Kerry.
It's way too athletic to be a senator.
If you just had the pictures up there without the names, I wouldn't even know which one was which.
Pete Carroll and John Kerry.
They're like the same.
They're the same person. I don't know.
Right. If you like, yeah, they both look like long lost like Kennedys, you know. So yeah, Pete Carroll. But hey, if he doesn't go into politics, I could see him in the booth for sure.
Pete Carroll presents Red Zone, 7 hours of commercial-free gum chewing.
With a little butt slapping mixed in there.
ASMR with Pete Carroll.
Oh, disgusting.
Oh.
I would vomit 20 minutes in, and that'd be generous if I made it that far. And just smacking gum in your ear over and over again, and then telling you optimistic injury news once every 30 minutes. Optimistically telling you exactly telling you that a player who's like still in the hospital is going to be good to go for next week. Followed by more gum chewing.
Yeah, I don't believe a word that guy says already. So he'd be perfect.
He'd be perfect. Yeah, you know what? I'm slowly getting convinced. So we got, who are our 3 nominees, John Luke?
I don't know. I got Sean McVay. I got Pete Carroll, and there was one more.
That was mine. Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley. There we got it. We got there. See, we got there.
Who do we have a winner for the kicker one?
2 R's and 2 L's.
Sure.
2 R's, 2 L's. Okay.
Sounds right.
And an O in the second part?
Yeah.
Roll. Cool. Well, the winner of the previous one was Stupid Young Wei Q.
Woo!
I totally forgot that we were going to have the chat vote, or I would have just picked like Rodrigo Blankenship. I would have picked just whoever the most
currently isn't on a team.
Yeah, free agent Rodrigo Blankenship.
But he's just so ridiculous, dude, that you have to pick him. His dad would have flooded the vote box.
He just monitors live streams constantly. He's got a bot set up to let him know anytime Rodrigo Blankenship's name is said on a stream. Hello, Mr. Blankenship. Welcome in.
Here's how you remember how you spell Pete Carroll's name. It's spelled car roll, as in like Tyler Lockett could roll his car on the highway and he would still let him play injured.
Nice.
Hal in the chat said Dan Campbell in the booth, and Eric going with Urban Meyer.
Oh my god, Urban Meyer's already in there, dude. I'm convinced Urban Meyer is working for free, just trying to. He's just like they're not even paying him. He's just like, I got to do something to get myself.
Nah,
back.
he knows something. He knows something about somebody. It's the only explanation why he keeps getting these gigs.
He's just getting.
What's he doing now?
He's in the booth.
He's in the booth for
working
college
as
football
an
games.
announcer.
Yeah, he's on TV every Saturday morning, dude. I see him every single time.
God,
I feel like it doesn't take much to be a college announcer.
Brady Quinn.
Hal down here saying Meyer is scum, and Fantasy Nav said exactly. I win.
Yeah.
And Jay said Urban Meyer does love the grind. Good one, Jay.
But we never heard that one before. All right, guys, let's get into our next superlative here. We got who is the NFL coach most likely to join the NFL booth after their coaching career, and that poll is up in the chat. We'll move on to our next one while that vote finishes. Your next superlative is most likely to quietly take over the world.
Ooh.
Most likely to quietly take over the world.
Quietly. I feel like that's the key right there. We're looking for someone who's going to not do it with force, but maybe with a little bit of like finesse in the way they took over. You don't even see it coming, and then all of a sudden, this person's in charge.
I'll go first on this one.
You got it, Joe? You know who
I
it's going
got
to be?
one. And the answer is Daniel Jones. Daniel
Ooh.
Dimes. You think he's dumb because he's got a face that looks like this all the time.
Because you think he's dumb because he looks dumb.
But he is quietly just plotting and scheming. Every interaction is mapped out. He's like playing chess constantly. He's playing 7-dimensional chess.
That's a good
Daniel
one.
Jones. He's going to quietly take over the world.
You think he's dumb because he might not actually be able to shut his mouth all the way. But he also, dude, very quietly ran for a lot of yards. You know how many yards he ran for this year?
7. 600
more. Oh, that's
And
actually
3.
That's actually it. Oh, dude, is it and 3? I know it's over 700, which is it feels crazy. 700 yards.
703. If it's 703, that's it. It's the end of the show. We end it here.
Yes,
Forever.
Great. Let me see.
This
This
is-
is the last time we ever
Sorry,
do the
Matt.
show.
Sorry, Al.
Sorry,
We'll
guys.
do a
I
new
hope
show.
we're
A
I know we
new
saw.
morning show.
I know we saw you this weekend. We were very excited about doing the show and all that. And thank you very much for doing it. But we will end the show if it's 703. It is
Sorry.
708 yards. So
Ooh, we were 5 yards away from never having this show
Mamma
again.
mia.
Dude, and my first
We go to
glance,
Vegas and start betting everything.
the 8 looked like a 3 first glance. I was like, oh boy, yeah, making too many props. 708
Hot
yards,
pasta.
120 carries for 708 yards and 7 touchdowns. That is like more. That's like better than he was better than. I don't know. That's like what you got from that's what you got from Aaron Jones. You know what I mean? Like what the hell?
If rushing yards as a quarterback is the primary determinant for quietly taking over the world, then Daniel Jones is top 4 in consideration based on this past season,
Thematically speaking, but he's
without
also,
a doubt.
But the thing is, he's also quiet about it.
No one's going to see him coming because his mouth's open.
Everybody knows you move quietly with your mouth open. You let the air funnel through.
It's all about the aerodynamics.
It just comes out your butt.
Yeah, you just become a wind tunnel. All the air funnels through you. You no longer even make a crease in the wind around you.
I got my answer,
Let's hear it.
and it's Bill Belichick. And
Dominating Bill Belichick.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has already been working on that. Like he's only been doing 2 things: coaching football and quietly taking over the world. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, "Oh, by the way, yeah, I know the team's been struggling a little bit lately, but that's because I've really been focusing on my other passion, which is quietly taking over the entire world." And if you've ever seen one of his press conferences, it's not going to be hard to keep him quiet because he doesn't want to talk. He really, truly does not want to answer any of your stupid questions, especially about the team and especially about taking over the world. So definitely don't ask him about that. He won't tell you because he's quietly doing it already.
And my answer, we've been mocking Zach Wilson for his propensity to go after moms, but Zach Wilson knows the truth. The moms hold the power. If you want control of a populace, you gain control of the mothers, and suddenly you've got control of all of their children as well. So Zach Wilson is trying to get in with the moms of the country so that he can subvertly control the populace through the control of their mothers. It's Zach Wilson. We've been mocking him for this. He lost his starting job, so now he's really sitting in the wings. He made a whole show of it, so nobody even cares about him anymore. And the next thing we know, we're all going to be getting calls from our moms asking us to start wearing our Jets gear, to start, I don't know, sending money to BYU, whatever the hell Zach Wilson wants us to do whenever he's in charge of the world.
So the formula is first you get the moms, then you get the populace. Then you get the Jets fans. Then you get the cash. Then you get the world.
That's it. Yeah, 100%. That's the flow we're taking.
I can't even poke a hole in that plan. It's too strong. How are they going to get me though? My mom is going to convince me to be a Jets fan somehow.
Yeah, you're not even going to know. You're going to get you might start resisting. And you're going to get the I'm your mother on the phone.
I'm your son, and the Jets stink.
Andrew Richard Cooper. Yeah,
exactly.
I think it could work.
That's my nomination. Zach Wilson.
Why do you spell Zach with CH sometimes?
Dude, it drives me insane.
Zach?
That's the one. Zachery. I think if we start calling enough of them Zach, it'll prevent future generations from naming their kids Zach.
Stop saying Zach.
I'm telling you right now, we need to start calling these kids
Zach.
We got to start calling these kids Zach so we can put it into it.
Oh, I got a dirty Zach.
Yeah. Well, I know
I'm trying to think of like when does it make that sound otherwise? Like Bach?
Brock.
Why is it Zach?
It doesn't, dude. That's what I'm saying. And the thing is, like, I know you guys.
The name.
That's what I'm saying. Bach.
Oh.
But then wouldn't we call him Zach? Zach.
That's the number one. A lot of people.
Wilson.
A lot of people complain about the different spellings of like a Keyshawn or something like that, but that's the one that drives me nuts as a writer more than
it messes me up every time.
Which Zach? Like I've written the name Zach Ertz a million times. Right now, it would be a 50-50 on which one.
And then people will switch them up, but not like it'll just be like randomly in the middle of a question. You're answering like 100 start-sit questions on Sunday, and like in the middle of it, you'll just get a one with a K, and you're like, that looks totally normal.
And then we haven't even gone into some people just use a C or just use a K.
Right.
So we've got the ZACK, then we've got the Zach, and then we've also got Zach with a C and Zach with a K. We got 4 different spellings for Zach. It's a 4-letter name at most, and you guys can't just come together and pick one.
It's one of those words that always requires at least one edit in my head because I almost always read it as Zach first and then I have to go back and say Zach.
I've committed to just looking it up too. It's like now it's like direct. It's like the GPS for me. Like I don't know any phone numbers. I don't know any directions, and I don't know any Zachs. I always look it up. I only know that Zach Stacy is the one C Zach, but everybody else is I have to look it up. I don't know,
I don't know any phone numbers, I don't know any directions, and I don't know any freaking Zachs.
What the heck are all the Zachs at?
I don't know. They're everywhere, dude, but I don't know what the coordinates are.
Dustin said Zachs with an X. That's how you spell plural Zachs, is just ZAX.
See, that at least is clear to me. I'm gonna read it Zachs every time.
Bro, I don't care which they pick if they just pick one. Right? Zach, it's fine. If it was all Zach, that'd be cool. And the thing is, are there any Zacharys where they spell Zachary ZACK? And
that's why they spell it CH. That makes sense.
Right. But so what? The people that are Zachary,
but the rules don't even matter because somehow we get Dick out of Richard and Chuck out of Charles. So like I don't care what letters are in the original. Like come on, like it's stupid. You can add or remove letters willy-nilly all you want.
Can you just
like William can be Bill, Will, Willie, Billy, or I don't know, probably something else.
The names, dude, these days are too willy-nilly.
Oh, Willie Johnson.
Oh, Willie. They're too willy silly, man. But yeah, can you just name your kid Chuck, or do you have to go to Charles?
I think good question. Honestly, I don't know. Chuck.
I'm imagining Coop.
You mean Bill?
Like
No.
at the hospital and going like, so am I allowed to just call this thing Chuck, or do I have to like officially call it Charles?
They're like, nah.
What are the rules?
They're like, first of all, no Chucks.
Where's the naming diagram for this thing?
You got to earn that Chuck. Not every Charles can be a Chuck, but yeah. Okay.
Not every Charles can be a Chuck. Every Chuck can be a Charles, though. That's for sure.
They have to be. They have to be. All right.
Let's get into our next superlative. Who is most likely to quietly take over the world is currently in vote. Our next superlative here, coach who should be a therapist. Coach, I guess the better way to phrase this, coach most likely to be a therapist.
Damn, I already used Belichick.
Coach most likely to be a therapist. God, I feel like don't say Dan Campbell. Don't say Dan Campbell. Don't say Dan Campbell. I'm going to say Dan Campbell as the coach that I think is most likely to be a therapist. Did you see the way he acted in Hard Knocks? Because I didn't. But based off of what you guys said in every press conference I've ever seen of this man, I feel like I could tell him anything. Like I could just sit down with Dan Campbell and I could tell him anything, and he wouldn't try to like necessarily solve it for me, but he would listen and he would provide guidance in what I should do next, but allow me to solve those issues with a helping hand and the comfort of knowing that therapist Dan is right there waiting for me if I fall behind again.
That is the vibe. And he also, like, on the show that you referred to, but you haven't seen, he does like the push-ups with them. You know what I mean? Like he does the
up downs.
He does that stuff with you too. So he'd be there with you every step of the way.
Why does it feel like I named the exercise up downs?
I think you did, but now I couldn't possibly think of another name for him.
Fast guy up downs.
No, it is up downs. That's what they are. Which those are exponentially harder with pads on and more annoying. Just too much jingling around, especially when you have terrible high school pads that were assigned to you.
Yeah, like all of us did. Dustin here said, would you rather have all the Zach/Zach be the same, or all the initial names either have or not have a between the letters?
A dot between the letters.
Oh, wait a second. Now.
So like DJ, D dot, J dot, DK, D dot, K dot, or give me all the Zachs being the same, because
there's only a few of them.
The dot problem isn't a problem for me. It's a problem for the people making the websites. Just make it work whether I type the dots or not. I'm not mad at them for having dots in their names. I'm mad at the websites that don't recognize it without a dot.
I don't know if
pretty easy.
I honestly don't know if ours needs the dots or not, but I imagine the editor having to change that pretty often. I should probably check with them to see if I should be doing dots or not. I always do though. The one name, our website, I'm just gonna pull behind the scenes on fantasyalarm.com. That's where all my articles are. You should check them out. Got a big series going right now. But the one name that our system hates, Darius Slayton. Do you know why?
You've told us that before, because of Darius Slay.
Because it picks up the Darius Slay and literally just puts a link to Darius Slay with a ton just hamstringed on the end.
Nice.
It looks terrible. It looks awful, and we don't know how to fix it, or I don't. I've also never tried, but I will complain about it.
Also, we got Gator J in the chat said, "Oh, I'm so happy now. Y'all are back on. Hope nothing happened in Vegas. You can't talk about what's up, Gator.
Talk about it all. What up, Gator?
You know what they say, Gator? What happens in Vegas is there, and sometimes we talk about it."
Gator, the only thing that happened in Vegas that I regret is that my freaking flight got delayed and I missed going on the show, on you guys' show. So you got to book me again. Got to get me back on, dude. Sorry about that, man. Just got stuck. I cut it too close. I was flying too close to the sun this weekend.
Too close to the sun
with the trips and stuff.
Never learns.
Sorry about that, Gator.
All right, coach most likely to be a therapist.
I'll go quick with mine, and I doesn't have to be long. Mike Tomlin, because he would literally just smack you and be like, "Hey, get your act together," and then
a terrible therapist.
Sometimes that's what you need. Mike Tomlin, you might not even need to say
not every time.
Like I would just sit down in front of Mike Tomlin, and he would just like stare like this, and I'd immediately realize like all the things that are holding me back, and I'd be like, "I got it, coach."
You're right. I'm seeking comfort. I'm not being the best me I can be.
Mike Tomlin would be like, "You know what it is you gotta do," and I'd be like, "All right, I gotta get more sleep. Thanks, Mike." Give me Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I said Dan Campbell. Coop said Mike Tomlin.
Dan Campbell. I forgot about that. All that talk in between. Shoot. Bill Belichick's the obvious one here. Right. But I'm not going to go Bill Belichick because it's too chalk.
Matt in the chat saying Pete Carroll. You like Matt's choice of Pete Carroll? He can hop out of the booth and then chew some gum in your ear while he's giving you.
On anything while he's chewing.
I think Pete Carroll. The problem with Pete Carroll is that he would be too positive. Like he wouldn't help you. He would just be like, "Everything's cool. Like you're good." You're like, don't make any changes.
You'd be like, "I got good news. Depression, gone.
Don't worry about it. He's like, yeah, he would just be like, you want a stick of what kind of gum you think he chews?
Juicy fruit.
Juicy fruit, yeah.
Zebra?
Everybody knows juicy fruit.
Is it? I'm gonna check.
Yeah, it loses its flavor in 5 seconds. It's his favorite. He loves it. He actually
100%.
hates the flavor part of it.
It's just,
Can't wait till
he's
it's
just
over.
getting through the flavor so he can just have like the equivalent of like putty, like plumber's putty
Yeah,
that he's
just
just
rubber.
chewing on in his mouth.
He's just eating tire.
Ooh, happy to report that his gum of choice is the original Bubble Yum, the one with the stork on it that comes in the 5-pack.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got his OG collection from like 1937 that he bought up and just has been storing since.
That you can only get from the ice cream man. Like there's no other place. I don't think I've ever seen it in the store. Have you?
No, I'm telling you, he'll like whenever company comes over, he's like, "Can I interest you in a 1947 vintage Bubble Yum?"
He's got like a cigar case that he opens that like a humidor.
It's all bubblegum cigars.
This is the year child labor was outlawed, which makes this gum taste extra good.
Pulls a bubblegum cigar out of his case. He's like,
take a whiff of this.
all right, pick a coach.
All right. My coach most likely to be a therapist is Andy Reid. Andy Reid it just feels like no matter what, he's going to self-deprecate. He's just going to go straight for self-deprecation. And it's probably going to make me feel better about all my flaws.
Plus, and let's be real. He's going to have the best snacks out of all the therapists.
Snacks.
Like, I don't want to play into the stereotype or play up the trope, but Andy Reid, self-admitted, knows his way around a snack table. You're going to walk in and he's going to greet you with a honey bun. Know what I mean? Like, you're going to sit down and you're going to be immediately disarmed, jail, because you're going to sit in that chair, not just a regular honey bun. We're talking the frosted $1.29 Miss Freshly's honey buns.
Your favorite one.
Oh my God. They're so good. And I just know Andy Reid loves those. I can see it in his face and in his mustache.
Yeah. So he talks himself down, talks you up, but then at the end, he's like, look at me.
Honey buns?
He's like, honey bun? No. At the end, he's like, look at me. I'm Super Bowl champ. So you can be anything. And then you walk out of there feeling like a million honey buns.
And Better Boss in the chat said Pete Carroll. He made Beast Mode. Yeah. I think Beast Mode made Beast Mode.
Right. I think
Pete Beast Mode made Pete Carroll. Beast Mode made Pete Carroll's gum.
Imagine Beast Mode as your therapist. Easily would win.
He also just said he's mad at Pete Carroll still for not handing him the football. So maybe not.
True.
Not working out. Well, so we got
sit down with Marshawn Lynch and he's got a big bowl of Skittles.
Every time. Delicious.
Bill, I immediately forget who you said is your answer.
I said Andy Reid.
Andy Reid. That's right. The snacks of Andy Reid.
And Bill Belichick won the who is most likely to quietly take over the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's the chalk answer, but there's a reason. Sometimes chalk is chalk for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And Coop hit the nail on the head. Bill Belichick is probably already doing that.
That's
we got our next one.
Only way you could get him to talk about the Patriots is if you did ask him, like, so have you been secretly taking over the world? And then he would deflect from that by actually, he'd be like, we're going to run on the first play this week. And then you'd be distracted. He actually answered a question about the team. Classic change.
Just like unlocks them. He's just been waiting for someone to figure it out.
Yeah. Which haven't yet.
Well, we got our next vote in the chat, guys, over there on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube. If you want to vote for it, head on over there. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button if you want to make sure you're not missing the other stuff we're putting out. We got game shows. We got this show every morning. And we got shorts and clips that you want to make sure you're not missing. You could have learned all about why George Kittle got drafted by the 49ers. Coop teaching us. Or about how big Brock Purdy's balls are. We cover all of the important 49ers related topics on our YouTube, apparently. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some Sell Me This Pen in a little game we call Feeling Lucky Punk. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Better Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover, and then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
No way you know.
and Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14,
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders, unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
Oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay. Keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16, hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17, now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. Yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had 2 people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game.
Auto beans.
Beans.
I was going to say ow, but you overpowered it with a thorough beans. So
Those are some strong beans.
If you're in the chat, you've been thoroughly beaned.
Get beaned.
Get beaned.
Gotcha.
One day when we have the budget to do so and we're all recording from the same place, which will clearly happen, we should have like the equivalent of like getting slimed on Nickelodeon, but it's just beans.
Oh, disgusting.
It'll be black beans straight from the can, uncooked with all the juice in there as well. It could be grosser, but we'll bean you.
With all the juicings.
If you win, you get beaned on the show.
Let us know who would like to be beaned from the chat.
If you want the bean, we'll give it to you.
Don't all jump in there at once.
Someone's gonna come in. I would like to be beaned.
Tommy's
Please,
a good sport.
please.
Tommy would get beaned for the show. I believe.
Bean me.
Bean
Tommy's
me
like,
up.
how'd you know about my bedtime ritual?
Bean me up, Scotty.
On that note, we're going to end on the Star Trek bean pun before we get into our game that we're calling Feeling Lucky Punk. For those of you who have not played this game with us, this is a game of intellectual chicken. Contestants are going to go against each other head to head, bidding on challenges that they think they can complete. Dale may ask, how many of the top 12 PPR wide receivers from last season can you name? Coop and I will bid against each other. Who thinks they can name the most? Whoever wins that bid, though, says the highest. They're going to have to prove it, put their money where their mouth is and get it done. If they're able to do what they said they were going to do, they're going to get all those points. But if they are not, their opponent will get every single point that they said that they would earn in that round. Now, if you finish naming the number that you said you were going to name but think you can go further, you can choose to do so. But you're risking everything you've earned up to that point. You'll get double points for each additional one you name. But again, if it's wrong, all of those points will go to your opponent. Your opponent.
Your opponent.
Opponent.
You guys ready to get into it?
Oh, yeah.
Who are the opponents today? Are Coop and I opponing against each other?
You and Coop are playing against each other in this game of Feeling Lucky Punk.
The opponents. I've only ever won by 20 or lost by 30 I like the Ricky Bobby of this game. So let's see if I get crushed or if I win handedly.
Tim in the chat saying, I feel like getting beaned is having to put your foot in a classic wooden clog filled with beans.
Oh, no, dude.
That's the Dutch. That's getting Dutch beaned is what
Dutch
that
beaned.
is.
American
Just bean for you, Simon.
American bean is American beans is the same thing except it's Crocs.
It's squeezing out of the holes in the Crocs. As you show. I will make a video later this week of me putting my feet into bean-filled Crocs.
For no reason.
For no reason other than I just said I was going to.
Please don't.
And I'm a man of my word.
Just send it to us. Don't even do. It's not even content. It's just.
I'm just gonna put it on TikTok and YouTube without telling anybody.
Yeah, no context. Just this fantasy football account with.
I'm just gonna put get beamed and then in parentheses American.
You can't do that, dude. And here's why. Because what if that ends up being our most popular video?
Better
now we're in big trouble, dude.
Now we pivot to the bean culture.
That would be so much more embarrassing than a video about Brock Purdy's balls being our most popular video of all time.
But now people are going to want more, dude.
Exactly.
I'll give them what they want. We got lots of feed on the team. And
got lots of beans. All right, boys, let's get into our game of Feeling Lucky Punk.
How many Crocs full of beans will you shove your feet in?
By the way, did I mention this? Bill Belichick won the coach most likely to quietly take over the world.
You did mention that.
I did mention it. And Mike Tomlin won, who is the NFL coach most likely to become a therapist.
What a
I agree with the results. I do not agree with Coop's reasoning. I think Mike Tomlin would be a joy as a therapist.
Nope.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah, but Coop thought he was going to smack me across the face. I think he's going to be much more gentle with me.
And just stare in your eyes. Yeah, well. He's got that's the thing. He's probably got something different for everybody. That's what
You're right.
I need a good smack. After this weekend, I definitely need a good smack in the face.
Nick said, "Take a bean bath for the fans."
Take a bean bath. Bean bath.
Oh my god!
I got you, Nick.
My shower. For anyone that missed the beginning part of the show, I don't have hot water right now, so a bean bath might actually be kind of nice.
How many cans of beans does it take to fill a bathtub?
6.
I can tell you how many pots of water it takes. So many, like way more than you think. Especially when you're heating up cold water to boiling temperature. Like it's just too much work.
All right, guys. Your first Feeling Lucky Punk prompt is wide receivers with the largest target share in 2022.
So again, we've
how many of these can you name? How many wide receivers is the largest target share?
Out of how many?
Right. But out of how many? Because otherwise I could just name every wide receiver in the league. Top 15? Okay.
I bet I could name 8.
Well, Simon is starting off the bidding on this one. So
oh my god.
That is unfortunate. Simon, where's your bid?
I think I could name about, I don't know where this number's coming from. Probably about 8.
8. All right. Coop, would you like to counter?
I don't know. I had 8 in my mind.
Really? You don't say.
I feel like after being in Vegas, dude, it was like poker. Simon just read my my thoughts there. You could tell what I was thinking. I will go with 9.
How many?
9. One more.
9. Okay, 9. Simon.
10 of the top 15 is a lot to ask. That is a lot to ask.
That was 8.
But let's do 10. Let's go for it. I'm feeling like I can get it.
I'm gonna let you play at 10 because I always think when I did 10 of the top 15 tight ends, and it was harder than I thought. It was a lot harder than I thought.
I'm already struggling. I've thought of like 3 in my head, and now I'm already
12 of the top 15 tight ends. It is hard. So okay, I'll let you go for 10.
Joe, you said wide receivers specifically.
Wide receivers with how many of the top 15 wide receivers according to the largest target share can you name in 2020?
Okay. I'm closing the chat. I would like to start with one Mr. Devontae Adams.
Hold on one second. Okay. Devontae Adams is number 1 on this list with 32.3% target share.
We are off to a good start. How about Stephon Diggs?
Stephon Diggs is number 7 with 28.1%.
Okay. What about So we've got 2. I only need 8 more. I'm already panicking. Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
Justin Jefferson is number 4 with 28.7%.
Okay, so far I got D. Adams, J. Jeff, and Stephon Diggs as the answers so far. What about CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb is number 6 with 28.6%.
Okay, so I've got 4. I only need 6 more. This is easy peasy. Nothing could be easier than this right now at all, without a doubt in my mind. Honestly, it's embarrassing that you didn't say 14 of the 15.
I probably should have, dude.
And friendly reminder, if you're watching, if this is your first time joining us, you're watching along in the chat, throw your guesses in the chat. Throw who you think is in there. We will praise you if you get it right. And the contestants have their chats closed, hopefully, so they will not see your guesses.
God, the teams that are throwing me off are the teams with like 2 great wide receivers. Those are the ones where I'm like, but what, like, was it spread out enough because they had 2 great ones that neither of those guys are on the list? You know what? Let's just go for it and say that this guy had enough of a target share. Jamar Chase.
Oh,
Jamar Chase
is not on the list.
Got hurt.
Is not on this list.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what they were doing with injury, if it was like when they played or not, but
that would have been such a good question to ask before you guessed.
Yeah,
that would have been.
I think I could have gotten way more than 4, and I took a risk too soon.
Yeah, because let me. Was Cooper Kupp on the list?
Cooper Kupp was not on this list.
Okay, so it definitely wasn't factoring. They had to play the full season to be on the list.
Yeah, probably factored in like just number of targets they had and total targets on the team. Didn't take into account like when they played.
I think so.
Yeah, keep up with this one. So I'm not sure.
That's a normal way to report that stat. I've just
details.
seen both.
Yeah,
I've seen both done before. Damn.
So unfortunately, Simon, Coop is going to get all 10 of these points here.
Yikes!
This game is ridiculous. So,
Brutal.
All right, can you rattle a few of those? Can you give us top 5 at least? Just so we know.
I can name all 15 for you. So your top 1 was Devontae Adams, 2 was Tyreek Hill, 3 was Drake London, 4 was Justin Jefferson, and then we had AJ Brown.
I thought about AJ Brown
as number 5, and then you had Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, and Deontay Johnson as the next 5. Yep. Amari Cooper, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, and Michael Pittman.
God, there were so many names I thought of on that list, and I had to go with freaking Jamar Chase like an idiot.
Dude, so just the other day, I had top wide receivers in general, and I also lost on Jamar Chase. So we got to be careful with that guy.
Yeah,
he's just so good in our minds. Like we've got to get hurt. You know,
got to. All right, guys. Well, Coop, you are in the lead, 10-0. Your next prompt is: how many nose hairs are you willing to pluck right now?
And I'm first.
Coop, you are bidding first.
0. I'll go 1, I guess. No,
Coop
I'll go 0.
I'll go 1.
I'll do 2. I'll pluck 2 nose hairs. I'm going to cry. The plucking a nose hair hurts.
It hurts bad. I'll let Sam go. And I don't think I have the skill to pluck just 1. That's the problem, dude.
Oh, yeah, I can get those.
Well, you'll get double points for everyone you plug after. So
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Before we do that, though, I just have to.
That's what you were thinking?
I opened the chat after doing that wide receiver, and I see Hal has done the math for me. To fill a standard tub with 12-ounce cans of beans, it would take 448 cans of beans to fill a tub.
What's the average?
How much
price
does that cost?
Beans?
Yeah, let's find the average cost of that. Let's
beans near me are about 60 cents whenever I go to the grocery store.
Per can?
You can get a can of beans for 60 cents. AGB brand.
How many cents are in a minute?
There are 45 cents in a minute. Yeah, Hal's agreeing with me. 59 cents, 60 cents. We're on the same page bean wise.
That's pretty cheap.
So if there's 45 cents,
why do I pay $4.50 for my beans?
But you getting like those organic beans?
I guess so. $450 did seem pretty high.
Yeah. $450 per can of beans.
Yeah, that seemed a little pricey.
We've been eating them one at a time. We've been splitting a bean for dinner for the last 3 weeks.
We just don't eat beans.
You guys are bearing the lead. If there's 45 cents in an hour of beans, then it's going to take you days to fill the tub.
It's true. It's a pretty big time commitment.
And
All right,
Tommy said, need to allow for your body mass. Okay, I'll pull 2, and now I just got to start pulling.
Next
Oh,
expo.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
There's
How many
one.
is that?
That's one.
That was a
wait, there's 2 in there. Does that count?
All right, yeah.
That counts.
That was a strong that was a strong one.
Pluck any more?
Ow. Oh, I didn't get one. I didn't get it.
Oh no.
I hate watching you do this with your fingers.
Ow!
I don't like that.
Oh shoot.
Did you bleed?
I got 3 more with that.
Okay, that's 6 additional points.
See those. You see them?
Yeah.
Oh
God, I see the hair. I see the skin on the
Jesus
end.
Christ, dude! This one of those had like a piece of your brain on there.
So 1 more of these, and I am tied. Also, good morning, Mr. Scampers.
Good morning, Mr.
Scampers. Out live on air.
I love to think that some people might pull in right now. They
I can't
just
get it.
Open.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Tommy goes.
I only got 1 more, and that's gonna
bring you to 10 points. That's 8 points plus the 2 from your bid, Simon. That's gonna tie up this game. My nose hurts for you.
This network, at the conference this week, this network won an award for best video programming startup level, and this is what we're doing on the first show back. The first show back after the conference.
Now we see why they won.
Award-winning programming. There you go. Simon's gonna rip out nose hairs until we're tied in a game.
I'm so impressed by that, Simon.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed by that.
You know what impressed me most is the quality of your video of your camera, where I could see the individual hair follicles there, which was pretty disgusting.
Follicles. Wow.
I was down to the follicles. That's pretty gross.
Zoomed up real deep.
Crave.
Yeah, that's pretty gross, dude.
Jake said, Simon, keep going. Get to 100 points.
Stop. Before that, he said, "Stop this immediate, please," in all caps. I mean, how far did you get? What'd you end up with?
8 points. I did 6 extra, or a couple extra
10.
nose hairs. 10 points total. No, yeah, 10 points total. 8 extra points.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I did rip out chunks of my brain with each of those nose hairs.
Some of those
those little white pieces at the end.
White pieces were
your brain.
Some of those are deep. Yeah, some of those are brain pieces for sure. Hey, worth it though.
Scamper said, "How many toenails can you chew off?" Simon, I learned none, I guess, because he's got industrial strength toenails.
The number of toenail clippers I have broken with my big toenail
is
more than the number of toenail clippers I haven't broken with my big toenail.
Broken? Aren't they?
I go to squeeze, and the mechanism breaks before my toenail breaks as I'm trying to clip them.
Aren't the toenails clippers you buy metal?
Yeah, and my toenail is apparently made out of Kevlar or something.
What's your sock budget?
What's my sock budget?
Are you not shredding those things, dude?
I did poke a hole in the big toe of my favorite pair of socks not too long ago. My purple cow socks.
Oh,
I know.
Not the cow socks.
I know. And I got them from an ex-girlfriend, so I can't even text her and be like, "Where'd you get those socks?" It'd be inappropriate.
It would be very inappropriate. All right. Let's get into our next prompt here.
It's tied up. All I had to do was remove my nose hairs and my dignity.
That's it. 10 to 10. And Casey's here. You guys are back. Yay. Woo.
Oh, yeah. I think the real lesson here, Simon, is that you should know a little more about football stats, and then you won't need to pull nose hairs out to tie the game back up.
Or I know I can cover all of my deficiencies with my lack of shame and willingness to hurt myself.
There you go.
I never need to learn anything, because given the opportunity to do something embarrassing and painful to make up for that, I'll do it.
That's totally fair. All right, let's get into our next prompt here. How many of the most common team mascots can you name? So this is going to include high school, pro, and college.
Of how many?
How many of the most common team mascots can you name without
like what's the list? Like if it out of the top 10, out of the top
15?
Okay. And I think Simon, it's your turn to go first on this one, because I went first on nose hairs.
6.
Coop, what do you think?
I want to play, so I'll go 7.
7. Simon?
8.
8 from Simon.
Let's see how much you want to play.
I don't know if I want to play that bad.
Do it.
I'm trying to think. Oh, the top 15, and if you get one wrong, you're out. Yeah, I'll let you play. Go ahead.
No! Oh, man. My full plan was getting you to play that, Coop, at 9. You said you wanted to play, and I believed you.
I know. I believed me too until you went higher than me. You went higher than me again, dude.
I really thought, saying I really want to play, that you would have, like, bet more than one time. I thought I was going to get you.
The thing is, we always mention that this game is kind of like chicken, but in chicken, if you back out, you lose. But in this case, if you back out, sometimes you win.
That's true. Okay, well, I was not planning on. Yeah, I said 9 because Coop said 8, so I got a 9.
No. I'll be fair. I think you said 6 and I said 7 and you said 8. Or did you go right to 9? Or did you go right to 9?
No, I didn't skip any numbers, so I went with the next highest number.
Number I had was 8.
Jay's usually a couple minutes behind on the YouTube. Jay, what is Simon about to say?
Tell us in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Tell us I think it is. I think it is 8 because I was assuming you would say 9.
It is 8. It is 8. Yeah. To be honest, and that I'm being honest here, that helps you. So I think that's right.
Tigers.
Tigers is number 2.
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs got to be 1.
Bulldogs are number 3.
Okay.
Took me way too long to find.
But you have the chat closed.
Yeah, I got the chat.
Tigers are 1,442 instances. Bulldogs 1,246 instances.
1,442. I'm sorry. Oh, high school. Oh my god.
Eagles.
Eagles are number 1 with 1,766.
I was trying to identify the number 1 was running. I was like, if it's not Tigers and Bulldogs, what is it? Let's stick with let's go with the.
This is hard but fun, right?
The Lions.
The Lions are number 8 with 789 instances.
Okay, so I've got 4 so far. I've got Eagles, Tigers, Bulldogs, Lions. What about the Hawks?
I'm sorry, Simon. There are no Hawks in this list.
Really?
You're kidding. I'm calling balderdash on this. That is
Hawks. Not a single.
You know what?
Hawk.
You know what it might
if
be.
You say something like Cavaliers is on here and Hawks isn't.
You know what it is? If you got credit for all the different types of Hawks, then it might work but I think there's a lot of teams that are like Nighthawks or like maybe not Nighthawks, but like there's various types of Hawks.
There are 2 types of birds on this list that were not named.
Cardinals
is 1.
Falcons
is the other. They're
Hawks should
11
be the
and
most
14.
out of all of those. That's
Name one single Hawk school.
Seahawks. Nope.
Hillgrove High School.
That's a Seahawk.
I got this no Hawks.
The Atlanta Hawks, the NBA team.
Okay, yeah.
Is Iowa State a Hawk?
They're the Iowa is the Hawkeyes. Iowa State is the Cyclones.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay. Well, number 4, Panthers.
Yeah,
I had Panthers written
down. It was on my list.
Panthers was 1. Yeah. Wildcats is number 5.
Yep.
Warriors, number 6. Indians, number 7. Lions, 8. Cougars are number 5.
Go Cougs.
I'm sorry, number 9. 10 was the Knights. 11 was the Cardinals. 12 was the Mustangs. 13 were the Trojans. 14 was the Falcons. And 15 was the Pirates.
I could have gotten that so hard.
I would have never said Mustangs. And I would
have never said Mustang. Mustang seems like the most, the one that probably everyone would miss.
That one's being carried by the high schools without a doubt.
Yeah. But I know of Mustang teams. I just wouldn't have said it. Like, there's not that many Mustangs, dude.
I'm pretty sure that was like my youth soccer team when I was like 7 years old. As we were the Mustangs.
The most fun is definitely Cougs. Go Cougs is a hilarious thing to yell.
Go Cougs, the Cougars.
Cougs.
At this point, the connotation. It's pretty funny.
It's too nice.
Tim said Bulldogs, Tigers, Pirates, Warriors, Lions. I think all of those hit.
What were your high schools?
We were the Hawks at my high school.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's why I said Hillgrove. Yeah.
That's why I said Hillgrove.
I just assumed everybody knew that was Simon's high school.
Dude, nobody would guess what my high school's mascot was in a million guesses unless they actually knew.
The Dragoons.
The butt sniffers.
The Rangoons?
Dragons.
The Dragons. Oh, that'd be sick.
You were the Yellow Jackets?
No. Jay said we were the Yellow Jackets in the chat. I went to it was a town called North Attleboro. The North Attleboro Yeti. Yeah, that's what it is. No, we were the North Attleboro Red Rocketeers.
I thought you were saying it was Yeti, and I was like, wow, Simon, that was a good guess.
That is sick if you got it, dude. Yeti's actually an awesome name, too. Yeti.
My sister's school. It's her mascot.
Now, North Attleboro, we were the Red Rocketeers, and Attleboro was the Blue Bombardiers.
The Yetis is from the backyard sports games because we have a backyard sports or backyard football themed dynasty league, and one of the teams is Tibeti Yetis.
The Tibeti Yetis.
Dustin said Coop's probably a clam or something. They're the clams. That's a terrible name.
The clams.
Lancers. That's a nice one. That's solid.
One of our rival high schools, they were the Hoyas, which
Georgetown Hoyas.
Georgetown
never
Hoyas.
got a ton of clarity on what that meant. The people would always say like it's a brick wall, but then they all got bulldogs as their mascot.
There's a school that was rival to ours that they might have been Hoyas too, because they were based off of Georgetown. It was like, you know how schools do that? They like kind of base off of like a college or something.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all like that. Like our North Attleboro ones is just a ripoff of the N from Nebraska, basically.
Yeah.
The red N. So we had Milford in our area was the Scarlet Hawks, but that wouldn't count because they're Scarlet Hawks, not just Hawks.
See, but like with Eagles, there's like Golden Eagles, and with Knights, they got like, I'm going to use the same adjective. Golden Knights.
Golden Knights.
The big Knights. We are the big Knights. You are not as
tiny big Knights.
Now that I look at it, of the like 12 teams in this area in our division, 2 of them were named Warriors and 2 of them were named Tigers. So nobody is creative when it comes to that stuff.
All right. You guys want to get into our next one? Coop, that gives you 8 points because Simon did not correctly guess 8 in a row of whatever we were just guessing.
Tommy's an idiot. He said the Milford Cougars. And then in case we didn't get it, in case you didn't understand, he said MILF Cougars. That's right. Thank God the Erd got dropped.
They should switch it. They should switch it from the Scarlet. I'd rather be the MILF Cougars than the Scarlet Hawks.
Tommy also guessed Gamecocks and Terrapins. That would be wild. Either one. Either one would be wild.
How many besides Maryland? They're probably maybe one.
I've never seen another Terp.
No.
I've never seen another school. Not even like the schools around here I've seen have Terp mascots.
What is the Terrapin again? Is that some sort of turtle?
It's a turtle. Yeah, it's a big turtle.
Pretty cool.
That was a kind of weird mascot to grow up loving.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like unique mascots.
I like the Maryland flag. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know you guys plastered on everything, and every time I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. No, it's a big thing. Big thing here.
Your favorite mascot, like odd mascot? Like Joe, you mentioned you like an odd mascot. Is there one that comes to mind immediately?
I kind of like the Dragons. I mentioned it earlier. I've just been thinking about it because the elementary school near my house, I was visiting like last week, and they were the Dragons. They had a giant dragon drawn all across the basketball gym. It's sweet.
Like the UAB Blazers. I know it's not a dragon, but their logo is a dragon because they're the Blazers.
It's just sweet.
You seen
the whales?
UC Santa Cruz mascot?
Banana slugs.
Banana slug.
Yeah, that's nice.
I know that's like the classic one, but if you look him up, he's so friendly. I love him. Bro. I want to kiss him.
All right, guys, we got one more prompt to get through in this game. Simon, you were down by 8, but you can come back here.
We go.
It's close.
All right. How many of the top 15 players, according to DLF ADP, can you name? So how many of the top 15 dynasty players, according to DLF ADP, can you name? This is overall, but just, including obviously skill positions is dynasty fantasy football.
Oh, the top 15?
Super flex?
Top 15, no, 1 QB.
Okay.
Who goes first here?
You do.
Yeah. You bid first.
And I'm up by 8.
I'm going to close the chat, but Matt just came in and said Richie James.
Richie James.
And did you say this was Superflex?
No.
Not Superflex. Which is craziness. I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say 4.
4. Simon.
5.
I will now say 6.
7. It's got to go up to at least 8 for me for Coop. Like he's got to at least take this 8 for me to have a chance at winning.
And
Or I gotta take it.
if I take the 8, then you can let me go and win, or tie it at least. I'm gonna let you play on this one.
Okay, so I have 7 is what I said. So I need to name one extra. I need to name all 7 and one extra, and I win. And if I don't, Coop, you are the winner.
Yep.
And you get a passive victory as I slowly played every single round in this
Just
game.
to give you all the information here, this is January. So the ADP was last updated January
Okay.
2023 Startup Dynasty ADP.
And I need to name 8 of the top 15 Dynasty Startup ADP players. Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson is number 1.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase is number 2.
I was going to be so mad if you said
Those
Jamar
are the
Chase.
those are the free ones.
Brees Hall.
Brees Hall is number 8.
Ooh, wow, I thought he'd be way higher than that, honestly.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown is number 3.
CD Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb's number 4. That's
Okay,
5
so-
out of your 7, Simon. You need 2 more plus an extra to win.
This is where I get a little bit nervous, but I don't know how nervous I get right here. How young do we want to go with these wide receivers? How high up are these names getting pushed?
So far, you have Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Brees Hall, AJ Brown, and CeeDee Lamb.
That is indeed true. Those are the players that I have. Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle's number 6.
Wow.
I was debating that
2
one.
more,
I wasn't
Simon.
sure. Jalen Waddle.
1 more to get to receive these initial points.
Oh God, I'm getting so nervous. We are right on the line. I'm gonna go with. This is definitely
Richie James.
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor is number 5.
Okay.
So you are going to get these 7 points, Simon, for the win. You just need to guess 1 more.
This is risky,
I
but
think you got it, man. I think you got this.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker is number 9 on this list. We're going to get these points and win. Let's
Pulled
go.
it out. I was unsure if he was going to sneak in there.
Good
That's
job,
going
dude.
to 9 points and give you the lead. Hey, this is the lowest margin of victory on this game ever, 19-18.
I think we figured out the mechanics of this game finally, because before it
Let
was
Simon play.
well, yeah. I mean, dude, just think it's crazy.
Did Simon score all of the points in this game?
I did.
He played every time.
He
yeah.
scored every point.
He
in
pushed
this
it to
game.
the limit.
He scored all of Coop's points for Coop and all of his own points for himself.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, had you missed that last one, you would have been like a couple nose hairs away from having won. Or I could have
The
pulled
nose hairs saved you.
I could have pulled the nose hairs, right? You put in the effort, man. You deserve that one.
The nose hairs got it. It was by the skin of the inside of my nose that I pulled that victory out. Guys, that is going to be it for us today. My apologies to Coop for not letting him play that one, but thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out with us bright and early on this Monday morning. I know a lot of you don't even have work today, so you woke up just to hang out with us. We appreciate it.
We do.
We'll be back every day this week. No more breaks, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you're here bright and early tomorrow morning for that. More football to cover, more nonsense to cover, but stick around here on BSN for more coming up. We got Moose and Keith coming up next, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. That's going to be it for us today, guys. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Until then, though, adios, everyone.